Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome. Welcome on into the stream. I'm going to give you a daily reminder. I think maybe I'll do this each time I see one. I always mute Twitter accounts because they some people have some rancid takes. And it's not like, if someone's engagement baiting because they're terrible, that's different. I mean, a lot of people have bad takes because they're so horribly misinformed, but they go and say a thing on a soapbox anyway, and then it ends up unintentionally becoming engagement bait because everyone's trying to correct them, Or if they're not trying to correct them, they're agreeing with something that's wrong, but they just saw this person post and went, "That's right," and didn't research. But this tweet goes as following. They say, "You know what has turned me from watching VTubers the most?" I want to preface this by saying right now, this is not part of the tweet. I want to preface this. That sentence that I just read out, that first sentence of their tweet, I want to note that everything that they say after this has nothing to do with VTubers. Now, if they're just saying they watch Twitch less because of it, that's totally fine, but that's not what they said, which is really fucking weird. So that part has me feeling like this might be engagement bait. Can't tell. They said it's not the model, it's not the voice, not the audio quality. It's what they're about to say. Not the model, that's fine. I know some people just hate VTubers because they don't like models. Totally fine. Not the voice. Yeah, there's a misconception. A lot of people think that a lot of VTubers have crazy voices when only a few of them really do. Most of them are just normal people speaking into a microphone with their normal voice. And then the ones that do voices, most of them are really good at it and people don't realize. So I'm like, all right. They said not the audio quality. Maybe I just watch people with good mics. I don't think that many people have that shit of audio quality, but maybe when you watch a lot of smaller creators, they all have that. But I don't think that's, again, this is nothing to do with VTubers. This is just every streamer. I think the sample of VTubers versus the sample of all streamers is the same for all these issues. Voices as well. Girls get made fun of for their feminine voices constantly. So, but we'll continue. They said their issue that has turned them from it is being on Twitch and getting rated into someone or clicking some stream and getting 1 to 3 minutes of ads before they can even start watching. I want to say that alone, totally agree. But that is nothing to do with VTubers. What? This has to be engagement bait, right? Either that or they're that dumb. When you become affiliate, the moment you become affiliate and you turn on the button to be able to get paid, to start making ad revenue and having subscriptions, whatever, you can't choose. You can choose between two things. Either everyone gets pre-rolls all the time, or the ads manager will run ads, and it has to be minimum 3 minutes per hour to get the proper ad revenue anyway. It'll still run them, even if you move it lower, and it'll give everyone pre-roll, so the time ends up being the same. So most people turn that on, But that's not the control of the streamer. So why would you, blame anyone for that? It's gotta be engagement, right? I muted the account so fast. I was like, huh? And then they were upset because sometimes the streamer talks about stuff they want to listen to and then suddenly ads play. And I'm like, yeah, all streamers have this issue. It's the platform's fault. I hate when people give a take when you could tell they've done no research or they themselves don't stream. But I checked in their bio, they in fact do not stream. They just post a lot of takes about VTubers on Twitter that are incorrect and then get a lot of engagement bait. So I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. And that is my mute of the day. My Twitter mute of the day. Why talk about something you don't know about? It's one thing if it's an interest topic. You're like, hey, I don't know much about this thing, but I'm going to speak about it positively or in an interest way to learn. That's totally cool, But talking about something negatively, criticizing something when you don't have a somewhat full picture is weirdo behavior. Don't do that. I think people in my chat don't do that shit for the most part, so. Who knows, man? Some people or something. Yeah, exactly. That is something. That's like me starting to be like, you know what I really hate about oil rigs? What the hell do I have to say about an oil rig, But you know what I cannot stand about oil rigs, guys. Also, wouldn't you know, I did the thing. I turned weirdly, and I might have to calibrate. Let me see. Can I fix it without calibrating? No, I can't. All right. You're gonna have to listen to my calibration. Let's go. I did unscuff stuff. I'm wearing my normal outfit today and not my second outfit, my warlock outfit. I'm wearing the general outfit. Thank God. It works. It's part of why I started a little late. I also just woke up super fucking late today. I actually slept for like 8 hours, which is very rare for me. I'm always a 4 to 5 hour sleeper, but I think I'm just exhausted from being sick and my body's kind of trying to make up for all the energy it used to not be sick. So yeah. So I slept in and I woke up late, and normally I like to start early on Wednesdays, but you know, definitely not this one. That's okay. I am here. Oh, thanks so much, Oshi. I actually can't see it. Wait, Oshi, I can't. My 7 TV's broken. Hold on. I don't even know if I can fix my 7 TV. I don't know. Okay, well, while, wait. Can I click on it to at least see it so I know what to picture in my head? Oh, shit, just send me the link of it. It won't work. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to FFZ. I always used FFZ for the longest time, and it never really broke on me, but it didn't have some of the features that 7TV had. Yeah, I might have to delete cache. I might have to do it. But yeah, FFZ kind of never let me down, and then 7TV came out, had some features I wanted, so I said, okay, let me do this. And then it still breaks. I think I actually have both running, but 7TV takes over the role of displaying the emotes, whereas FFZ, I have it for some other features. Yeah, it can revert the UI changes. That's kind of what I want. It's kind of what I want. I hate the title at the top thing. Actually, no. I like the title at the top thing if I am watching and I press like F11 so the top bar of my my entire browser isn't there. Then I love it. Which I do actually. I full screen my browser when I'm leaving like a stream up on my second monitor or something. I go theater mode and I full screen it. And it's great. Don't forget that F11 works and exists. I do. But yeah, just fuck it when it doesn't have all that considered though. Oh, she sent it to me. Thank you. Let me see what this emote looks like. Okay, it's the balls emote without the S. I like that. Real representation of me. Theater mode was at the top anyway? Yeah, true. Well, like I was saying, I really like it. You know what? I'm just gonna yap while I do the calibration. I'm gonna talk while I press this button. You can hear the lady. I like it.
Go to a starting position where
Yes,
you can
ma'am.
safely perform the calibration.
Okay. Anyway, I like it when it matches what goes on
Stand in
YouTube.
end pose, relaxed and look straight ahead for 3
Gosh,
seconds.
she's so loud. Right? Like she's really loud today.
Now, move around to move and rotate all the sensors. Avoid rapid movements.
Okay.
Processing. Please wait.
Okay. She's so great. I love her. Okay, I'm standing still for you, ma'am. Oh, no, wait, I don't stand still yet. Wait for it, she's gonna say it.
Now, stand still to apply and finalize the calibration.
Okay.
The calibration process is now complete. You can move freely now.
Thanks, lady. I have to say the suit tracks really well, and it doesn't really like drift much, but you know, the hypothetical suit I'm wearing, but sometimes it's just the spine. It's like a sternum tracker kind of, you know what I'm saying? That drifts like crazy, and that's why I have to keep redoing it. But nothing else does, which is cool. I'm also getting a mocha piece setup sent to me, which will be great. So I have a casual one to wear, so I don't have to go full suit mode all the time. It's easier for a normal ass stream. So that'll be cool. That'll be great. I also really want to experiment. This is gonna take me a lot of time, but I like learning new shit, so it'll be fine. I'm gonna take time to experiment with the Unreal Engine as well. So I've actually played around with it for other stuff, other projects before, way in the past. Like old Unreal, not Unreal 5, but I like stuff like that. And I was like, I don't really think it takes that much to just render and display something in Unreal Live. Usually the thing that people don't have is the tracking part, but I have that. Yeah, ray tracing. I don't know if I could do it with one PC. If I'm adding a lot of effects and stuff, I probably can't. But if I'm just displaying it normally, I could try. I think it might actually let me do some stuff that I wanted to do, maybe. I don't know if it's worth it for streaming, but, you know, for other projects, maybe. We'll see. So if any of you know a lot about Unreal and you have some cool stuff you want to share that I could do or whatever, send it my way. Like what Miko does. I mean, a lot of people use Unreal. I think she's the only one that used the term VTuber that used it, but there are actually creators for a long time that used models that didn't use the word VTuber because they weren't part of that community when it started up. They weren't on like the anime side of things. But yeah, no, they people have done that for a long time. Didn't know Unreal did 3D model things. It's literally like all it does. It's all 3D modeling. Anyway, look, woo, it works. It works. Actually, I'm still a little twisted. Whatever. Who cares? I'm just standing like this. It works. Look, my hands work this time. Remember last time, like my hands and face were not functioning a little. I fixed it. It's not. There's some stuff I want to fix. So like, camera's still a little, you know. Just pretend I'm standing on a weird treadmill. I figured out the issue why I couldn't get the camera to be perfectly fixed. Turns out I was doing a lot of stuff right, but it won't activate properly because I need a pro license. That's all it is. I was like, oh my God. I had to dig deep to find that out. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's still like, it's like on permanent follow mode no matter what I do. And I was like, why isn't it working? It's because of that. And it's one of those things where you can't just like just press a button and buy it. You have to like contact sales team and then they'll get you set up. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, okay, so I'm doing that. Which I'm fine with because if I'm going to use it, I'll pay for it. Like that is fine, you know? But yeah. I found out way later that that's what that was. So I was like, okay. All right. Anyway, that's what I was missing, guys. That's what it was. I thought it was so much more than that. I thought it was doing so many things so wrong, so incorrectly, and it was literally just like, oh, you just don't have this license. And I couldn't find, there's no spot that's like, oh, activate here, you know, so I didn't even like realize that was a thing for certain features. Got a big head? Yeah, I'm gonna hypothetically touch my head right now. Check it out. Wow. This anime body's something, huh? Something. Also, check this out. Bet you can't do that in a metal boot. Woo! 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 Bet you can't do that. Woo! Woo! It looks like rubber. Well, I can bend it because I'm strong. You could never, so. It's liquid metal. Can you stop making up lore? You're wrong. It's that I can bend it, actually. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. Look, my hands still... They don't make my gloves any smaller, guys. They just don't. But part of me is like, I don't think they would do it. But I want to contact them and be like, would you make them, like, really small, though? Like, just once, and I'll pay for it. Like, just once. just for me. Just for me. We'll see. I'm gonna contact and see if they'll do it. Maybe. Yeah, I should just double up. I should just wear 4 pairs of gloves on each hand first and then put my real glove over it. And then it'll do the whole thing. But like some stuff happens, but I have to really deliberately make it happen. Even this is a little... It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just, you know... I don't think I can get around that, to be honest. Glove inserts, that's not gonna do it. No, it has to fit your hand properly, because if I add anything in there, then it won't actually read my movements like at all. It won't. Yeah, it'll make it worse actually. It'll make it less sensitive, you know. So, sleigh nails. No, actually, the as you can see, it has no fingertips. As you can see. Also, I can't do sleigh nails because they'll piss me off. I've never been a nails person, like ever. I don't know. I just, whatever naturally grows I have. I've never been really one to paint my nails. I think it smells gross. Even when it dries and it's not super smelly, if you bring it really close to your nose and you sniff it, it still smells like it. You know, I can't do it. Yeah, and I can't type. I can't type. I also did a lot of sports for a really long time, and that gets really heavily affected, so there's just no way. No way. I don't know. I'm not into cosmetics. Not at all, but like for the most part, not at all. 95% of them I just don't. No. I'm good. I'm okay. What do the Italian hands look like today? I'm trying. Guys, I'm trying. It is a hard time telling when I'm doing this versus this. Like, I'm really doing it, I promise. I'm really doing it. So, if it can't tell the difference of when they're in so much, then it can't. I'm pinching right now, I'll have you know that. But it can do the curling, so it's whatever. It's whatever, man. It's okay. Nail polish remover scent. It's just gross. Acetone smells terrible. The thing is, like, something I used to do for a job a long time ago, for many, many, many years, I had to use acetone often to remove something. And no, I didn't work in a nail salon. I had to use acetone on something when doing something, we'll say mechanical is the closest I'll... Yeah, well, mechanical isn't the right term for it. I wasn't working like that. But, well, that's all I'll say. Anyway, I had to use acetone to get certain things off. I don't like it. Yeah, it's etched into my mind. It's just so... yeah, it's like being gassed. It is a thinner. It's used as a solvent for things that, you know, nothing else will take off. You just put some acetone on it. And you think you know the smell. You think you're going to know the smell when you think of the alcohol smell. You're like, "Oh, acetone's just like a really strong alcohol, right? Like it's that." And then you smell it and you can't even get near it. Getting near it, like if I held a bottle of acetone this far away and barely cracked it, I would smell it so strongly. It's disgusting. So, yeah. Yeah, pungent. Pungent's the word. It's just gross, man. It's just gross. But yeah, and it is super flammable. I had to work with it for so many years to take some stuff off, to dissolve some things, especially like a lot of different things, but some of it like adhesives and stuff, and it was just so disgusting. And so now if I set foot in a nail salon and I smell acetone, I think about like that. I think about solvents. I think about the smell, because it wasn't just acetone smell that I would smell. It would be the dissolved material, the sludge that happens after you dissolve a thing and then you have to clean it up. So you put acetone on a lot of different things to clean it up. You've got all these shavings of all different types mixed into like an adhesive, and it just makes this disgusting sludge that as you dispose of it, you're like, this shit's gonna last for 5,000 years, isn't it? Probably longer. You know, it's just gross. So I that's why I hate nails. I think they're fine to look at, but like I can't. The moment you go in there and they're like, we're just gonna rub the nail with, you know, some acetone to make sure it's prepped to put an adhesive on it. I'm like, no, I can't be here. I can't be here. I start thinking metal shavings and carbon dust and shit. It's disgusting. Disgusting. Yeah, industrial PTSD. Exactly. So I'm good. Do the smeeze. What the hell? What the fuck is the smeeze? I probably know it is, but hold on. Is it the one I'm thinking of, or am I thinking of something crazy? Not steezy. No, I hate this. When I say what is the smeeze, because I want to make sure I have it right. Fucking Steezy's doing it. Let me check. Okay, what does Steezy have to say? Scott from Steezy. Oh, oh, it's that. I forgot what this is called. Does it track my shoulder? Well, the shoulder is a little funny. I still need to measure some things out, move some things. Once I get the shoulders fixed, I will do it for you, Heavenly. Okay, put it in my DMs to remind me. Hold on. Okay, there are a lot of people like doing the smees that look fine, and then the Steezy dude looks goofy as shit. I can't watch this video. I can't do it. I can't. Goofy ass. It's so stupid. Oh my god. Also, Heavenly, you know, people have been posting and talking about my story that I told on my like first 3D stream, and so many people, I find it so funny. They hear the moral of the story and they learn that I only have one ball, and they're like, Heavenly's not alone. He's not alone. But I want you all to know, he was acting surprised in the chat. He was like, wait, she's like me? He knew the whole time. I told him a long time ago. That's a close friend of mine who, I knew he had one ball. I told him about my one ball. I was like, I got news for you, buddy. You were great. It's like porn acting in the chat. He was like, no way. Yeah. Yeah, I told him forever ago. So we've been together. We make one pair of balls. It's really nice. Hi, Chase. I'm sorry you came in at this moment. Great timing. Hi, Chase. How you doing? Doing all right, buddy? You doing all right, pal? And, check this out, Heavenly. Did you come in for this? Check this out. Ready? Look at the foot. But you can't do that. But you can't bend metal like that. Ooh. You hate it? Heavenly, we gotta do shit in Unreal. It's time. It's time. I understand a lot with accents at this point. Spent a lot of time getting it, understanding it. I'm ready. Or fuck it, Source Filmmaker. Let's go, OG. I don't think you can stream straight into it, but like we... It's time, buddy. Ray tracing. It's time. I'm gonna do the second PC pretty soon. Nailing that down closer and closer. And I'll be able to do the thing. I will be able to handle running Unreal and maybe also streaming, or at least recording. So yeah, RTX on. I mean, it's not gonna change like what I look like, but the lighting will feel that. I'll be honest. You can have a shit model and light it beautifully. I think perfect example is when you play Minecraft. Okay, you play vanilla Minecraft and you walk around, and you're like, it's Minecraft. You put on really nice shaders, and there's like ray tracing, and the rain on the ground now has this puddle effect, right? Where like you can see all of the little reflections and things, and it's hit right by the raindrops, and it goes, and suddenly, next thing you know, you're standing in a place in Minecraft, the Minecraft music comes on, you're looking out, it's raining, and you start crying. You just start crying. You're like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. The textures didn't change. Nothing about the models of each block changed. You just start crying because the lighting's so beautiful. That's what Unreal does. You could have a garbage model and light it beautifully, and it'd be perfect. High quality lens flare off the metal bits. I feel like I'd have to do something. I'd have to designate this and be like, yo, this mesh is reflective. Like I'd have to do that. And by me, I mean my 3D modeler. Because I don't do that part. I don't do the actual making of those things. I've never dabbled in that. Not once. All I can do is adjust stuff. That's it. Most Minecraft shaders are so overdone it hurts. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of it. I remember a long time ago, like first Minecraft server I was kind of on with friends. They gave me these shaders and they were good. They were not too much, and I used them. A month later, they're like, hey, new shader pack. Hey, new shader pack. Hey. It's the same pack, but they're just adding more stuff to it. And we kept upgrading everything to the point where eventually I was like, I think I hate this. Because the water looked like real water, and I could not tell what one block, one square of water was. I would look down at the water and I would go, I need to know if this is a square in Minecraft or if I'm between two of them and I cannot tell. And I hate this because I'm gonna die because I can't tell where the water is. So I gave up on some of that. I found some packs that light things really nicely and enhance things really nicely, but they keep the textures pretty similar to basic. And you know. Yeah, nerfing gameplay, it was terrible. It was terrible, man. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Is it like you do something on stream and Unreal captures the movement you make, or... Okay, yeah, we'll peel back the curtain. Basically, you wear trackers on your body of some sort, whatever you have. You can then also get something that tracks your fingers that will be separate from your suit. Maybe it's a separate pair of gloves or something. Your head movement is usually tracked by a thing on your head as well. And then your face is a separate camera or something doing that. Some people do it audio only, so the blinking is auto blinking and the face expressions are auto done based off of the mouth movements that it hears. Some people do that. I don't, because I can do this. So I actually have it, like, you know, looking at me. And then you take all of that data and you daisy chain it. And this is where it gets real shitty, depending on what program you're using. Some programs, you could take each of those things. It's like, what do you use for your face? And you go, this. What do you use for your body? This. What do you use for your hands? This. And then it just puts them together. Some things you have to, like, daisy chain what moves your fingers into the thing that moves your body, and then it accepts all of that and puts it all together. And then you daisy chain that into something that takes all that plus your face, and then you put that into a finalized program, you know? So sometimes it's like, you ever have strings of Christmas lights and you keep adding a new one to the end, a new string to the end, instead of them all being separately plugged in, and eventually you're like, is this okay? Like, is this gonna blow up? That's how it feels sometimes when you're setting up 3D, but software. So thankfully what I'm doing right now is not really that daisy chained. It's hands into body stuff all together, and then that boom into program, and face boom into program, and it's just putting it together. That's why when I move my head, like, a lot of other stuff happens, because, you know, the face thing kind of does that. So it's a little, it adds a little something. But I tried to not daisy chain it too much because I felt like my PC was going to explode when I did that. So I didn't worry about that. Now, when you're doing stuff on Unreal, I don't know. I don't know how it handles that, to be honest. I don't know if I'll have to daisy chain 100 things. And when you do that, it's like re-rendering it, reprocessing it for every individual program it moves into to keep it going, and then it moves into the next one. And you end up with a billion years of latency, which is why a lot of people don't do it live unless they have certain systems. Or it works, but it's really hard on your computer, which means you either can't stream it at all, or you kind of can, but you can't play games at the same time. You know, like, you can only chat. So that's why I didn't bother with Unreal, like, for streaming. It's like, I don't, maybe one day with 2 PCs, but for now, no. I don't think anyone needs that. I think I could come dressed in a potato sack and people would be like, haha, she's saying words. So it's okay. The legs connected? I mean, how else would I be moving them? How else would I move them? That's, yeah. Yes, they are. Because if they weren't, then they would be straight and still. Oh. Hold on. Cat. Cat. I'm petting him. Wait, you want to see this? This is his head. Oh, he's turning. Wait, he turned around. This is his head. And this is his butt. That's him. My invisible cat. He's so beautiful. I'm sorry your mortal eyes cannot see him. But you are not magic like me. See, I'm moving my fingers, but, like, it doesn't quite look like what I feel like I'm doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. GEEGA the mime? I'm not a mime. He's real. You just can't see him with your stupid mortal eyes. Okay? Your stupid, dumb people eyes. But I can see him because I have special eyes. You get me? You feel me? Oh, he loves butt pats. Yes. Yes. What is it that you want from me? Meow. What do you want, Nook? Oh, do you hear him on the mic? Oh, he just rubbed the mic. Did you hear that? I don't know if you can hear that. What do you want? Tell him. Tell him. See, this time he's doing it on the mic, and you know what? I think it's because I'm standing. I always try to get him to do stuff on the mic, and he won't. I think it's because I'm sitting. But because I'm standing right now, he's like, wait, is there hope? So he's starting to suck up more, you know what I mean? Meow on the mic again. You should do that. I like that. Give the people what they want, Nookie. Now he's walking over here. Okay. All right, well, that's not going to make me feed you. Is he a cat who likes to be spanked? I don't like that. He loves it. I hate that word. But yeah, listen. He loves this. Yeah. Yeah, Lucky. There's his tail. He loves it. Meow. He's so, I don't know how much of that you can hear, but he's so talkative. Yeah? Oh, he's lying down on the floor. He's all splayed out. Yeah. He goes all the time. Yeah. Lucky, wave. 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 Good boy. Yes. He's so good. Sorry, my mic, not my mic, my camera's all fucked, so when I crouch, you're just gonna see my legs come up. Good boy. Sorry, he needs this. Why'd you say Monka? What do you mean? My mic down. You just wish you could do what I do. Oh, my head did an exorcist? Yeah, well, that happens. It's because I'm talented. Your turn 180. Can I still do that today? Oh, yeah, I can. Check it. See that? If something's going on behind me, it'll never catch me because I can go, what was that? You'll never sneak up on me. Never, ever. Yeah, you'll never be like me. You'll never have the powers that I have. Anyone who's really surprised by that wasn't here on Sunday. You know how many times I was playing? I had Mario Party behind me, and I was playing, and I would go, "Oh my god, she's winning." That's just what happens. New lore drop. I don't think. I gotta finish that sentence. I'm gonna pet my son again, okay? I'm gonna float and I'm gonna pet my invisible son. Because unlike you guys, he doesn't complain about anything and try to figure out why. He just sits here on the floor and asks me for food. Right? Ugh. Now he's licking his own arms. Why can't you guys be like him? I don't get it. We have food too. See, okay, you're getting it. You're getting it. Actually, you know, I think I was thinking about this the other day. Certain chats are kind of like certain animals or act a certain way. They have certain vibes. And I realized specifically Joel's chat, Porcelain Maid, they act like cats. All of them. They sit around. And I was thinking about this because he wants a cat so badly, and he keeps not going for it because he's never had a cat before. He has a house he's lived in for a long time and has not cat-proofed it, and he's like not sure what to even do, right? It's a big undertaking, so he just doesn't know what to do. So he hasn't gotten one yet. And I was thinking to myself, he basically already has a bunch of cats because his chat is like, they're like all cats. Yeah, when they fuse with other chats and they do that thing where you collab and you can dump them all in the same room, they get really shy. And they just stop talking. Just like, haha, Keck W. Like, they say the safest things, you know? And then they complain. He has this cage that he puts chat in. So imagine you're here and I put a cage around you. Now, if I did that to you guys, you'd be like, let me out. Let me out. Oh, I hate it. Oh. They're like, please, this is our safety cage. I want to be in here. And if he takes it away, they start screaming and crying. All right? And they cannot handle it. They cannot handle it. And just their demeanor and the way they react to jokes. And they're always like, can we have this, Joel? They call him like dad. Like, Father, can we have this? I want this. Can we have snacks? The whole time. It's such a different vibe. And you know what I realized? It's because Joel acts like an attentive parent to his chat. Imagine calling the streamer anything but their name, right, Daddy? Exactly. Like, who would? That's crazy. That's crazy. Insane. But that's the thing. They sit around and they complain, and he pays attention. And he goes, fine, whatever. He argues, but he's doing that like fake argue thing. You know, when people aren't really, they don't mean it. They're just joking around. He's like, shut up, chat. Wink. You know, like, oh, you guys need your cage. You're so annoying. And then he gives them the cage, gives them what they want. And they keep complaining because they know they'll get what they want. But then here you complain, and I'm like, you're annoying. I ban you. I realize it's such a different vibe because our reactions to things are very different. Or I don't even ban people. I just go, shut up. It was a long while ago, but I remember there was one chatter who got really upset. They turned into a regular chatter. They turned into a regular, and they've been here for years. A long time ago, I was talking about something to chat, and everyone in chat was on the same topic with me, and I was playing a game. But we were just talking about this other unrelated topic. And some guy just comes in and starts sharing something that happened that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And instead of being like, hey man, keep it to this, or ignoring, I just went, shut up. And it was some sort of science related thing. And I said, hey, do you work in a lab? No. You don't? Okay, shut up. That's boring as fuck. Because it wasn't even an interesting factoid. It was something like everyone knew, and it was boring as hell. It wasn't even like a fun fact, you know? Because they're fun facts, and they're just some other facts, right? And that guy was like, I just wanted to share. And I was like, okay. Well, we were talking about something else. You're welcome to join us in what we're talking about. He ended up like, he was like, okay. And he put in 2 seconds of effort and had a great time. And now he's a regular. He's been here forever. But when I think about it, I'm like, if I do a what would Joel do exercise in my head, he would not have acted like that. He would have been like, oh, come on in. We're talking about this. Right? I don't know. I think streaming makes you realize a lot of things about yourself, right? Because you get to see yourself in certain scenarios and then watch other people, people you know, people you don't know in the exact same scenarios over and over. You get to see examples right in front of you of how they act versus how you act. It's really funny, man. It's really funny. Keep my fun fact about binomial distributions to myself then. You know I was a math goblin for years, so you cannot get me with those. With your math fun facts. You cannot get me with those. Because I had to listen to those for years. From people that I worked alongside, from people I studied alongside, from professors for so many years. And they'd be like, something, man, theoretical, man. I have a family member who is also a mathematician, but to a, like, scary degree. To, like, a, this guy's coming up with new shit kind of degree. Do you hear him? He's having so much fun. No, he's not angry. Okay, what he's doing is... What are you doing? Okay. So I've got this cat tree in the background. And he plays this game. He gets all excited and he's sitting on the ground. He's just like getting worked up. He's not playing yet. He starts going, meow. And he runs up to it. It's a pole. And he like grabs onto the pole and starts scratching it. And he'll turn around and he'll grab the pole like this, you know, like this around one side, this around the other side. And he'll start kicking it with his back feet. I love it. He's the best. You're just like me. Me late at night when I grab a second pillow and I go, and I kick it. I kill it in my sleep. That's what he's doing right now. My invisible cat. Good boy. He rediscovered the top of the cat tree. Oh my god, wait, I have to hold on. Okay. Sorry. Had to adjust the thing. He hasn't gone on top of that cat tree in like
Hey
forever.
GEEGA, I know a guy who sleeps with 9 bad prostitutes for every one good
what's
one.
the punchline?
His name is Horatio.
That's for like 10 of you in the audience. Begrudging +2. I liked it, okay? I will not be banning you for that one. That one was okay. It's working. Yeah, it's working, Bark. Look, it's working. Though my hands are a little... Like, this is very... That's the best that's going to be, you know. But it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's a lot better. It's a lot better. So I'm dumb and I got the joke. Guys. Being actually dumb is a sum of two things in my mind. Okay, don't call yourself dumb automatically for not knowing facts, because that just means you're well-read, you're well-learned, you've gained knowledge. That doesn't make you smart. You could read a billion things and be able to recite a billion facts. Doesn't mean you're smart. What makes you smart or dumb is whether you can or cannot have any self-awareness or awareness of what's around you, you know, tact. And if you have adaptability, meaning you can learn shit and you can change either your mind, your opinion, or what you know. That's it. And how well can you do that? How efficiently can you do that? How well can you realize when you need to do that? Can you identify? I feel like that's what makes people smarter, quote unquote. But yeah, just knowing shit doesn't make you smart, and not knowing shit doesn't make you dumb. I know people who, you know, had to drop out of school pretty young because of life scenarios, whatever, and they feel like they don't know a lot of things, and they all call themselves dumb, and I'm like, you're not. Some of you might still be dumb. That has nothing to do with you not going to school. All right? Like, if you drop out of high school or something, right? What makes you dumb is when you can't change shit. And when someone tries to give you new information, you cannot possibly lodge it into your brain because you're so convinced of something else and you're like this all the time. All right? That's it. You said I'm dumb. And that's okay if you are. Just be able to do shit and function. I don't think anyone cares. The average person is not that smart nor that well learned, and everyone seems to think they're really stupid, and I'm like, you're probably pretty average, actually. If I'm being honest, we're all pretty close to average. Oh, Mookie. Thank you for the 5 gifted. What if I genuinely consider new info but can't articulate my own stuff well? Well, then you're not good at articulating, and that's a skill. That's a skill that you have to grind, unfortunately, being able to articulate yourself. Some people are really good at it from when they're young because their parents are good at articulating and they pick it up, or a teacher's really good at it and they pick it up. But if you didn't grow up with that, you just have to get better at it by doing it. That's it. But that's a skill. That doesn't mean you're stupid. It's like saying, you know, I can't throw a ball well, therefore I'm bad at sports. You could be good at other things. You just lack this one individual skill. You're not good at this motion. You've not practiced this motion that enough times. Okay. Right? Doesn't make you, like, terrible. Doesn't mean you're physically incapable of doing anything. Right? Now, I mean, what about the IQ? I don't think IQ matters. I think IQ is such a general measure of some stuff. I think it's related, but it's not that relevant, to be honest. Because I know people who have taken the test, who have gotten a really high IQ, and they're only going to be good in some situations because, I don't know, I feel like IQ is a measure of something, and that's real, but it doesn't matter in practicality. Because at the end of the day, you have to be able to apply that stuff. And if you lack discipline, or, you know, you can't just get yourself to do these things, or you just never try to apply yourself, it doesn't matter. Right? You get a better measure from SAT scores or something, I bet. Maybe, yeah, but the SAT, I mean, they have, like, the writing section, which is very subjective. They have the reading section, which a lot of it, honestly, is more knowledge-based. It's like, just how many words do you know? Do you know what this word is? Have you read this before and remembered what this thing is if you look this up? It's kind of book smarts. I would say the math section is the one that I feel is the most real for problem solving. At least, which is what IQ claims to kind of be measuring, is that sort of stuff. The reading section kind of does. The writing section really doesn't. The math does. Yeah, pattern recognition, right? Like things like that, certain logic-based stuff, I think they're good at. But everything outside of that, I don't think it's a measure of anything important, to be honest. Yeah, the logic stuff, I think, is maybe the most important. Anything beyond that, I don't think it matters. To be honest. I don't know, man. I don't know. You did an IQ test online and in a friend's Discord, and it says in a red bold on the online IQ test that they're useless. Yeah. Did they get rid of the writing section for the SAT? Or did they get rid of it and add it back? When did they get rid of that, guys? How long ago was this? Did they get rid of that? Oh, it's 2 sections now. One is reading and writing and one is math. 2 modules. Oh, they got rid of it recently. The optional essay was discontinued in June 2021. Oh, okay. It's not that long ago. It was optional when you guys took it? Oh. Wasn't optional for me. Wait, when did they make that optional? Was that recent or not? Or was it? I don't know. Let me see. Oh, some colleges were still requiring people to take it, apparently. And that's why they left it on as optional. Huh. That's stupid. I don't know, guys. I can't find a date on when they did that. You said, sounds sick, wish yours wasn't optional. Yeah, I was like... I read that word, I saw optional. I was like, what? ACT is more relevant now? Didn't that one involve science and stuff like that as well? I don't know, man. Your college wanted an SAT? Chat, what was your SAT score? What was your SAT score? Actually, wait, you have to say out of the max, because the max changed. Do you remember? 1600 to 2400. Didn't do them, no idea, don't even remember. What are SATs? ACT gang 31 out of 36. Oh, nice. SAT was, it's the standardized test that they give out at a federal level. Like, every high schooler can take it in the US. And what you do is you take it, and it tests on reading, writing, and mathematics, and it's a lot of logic-based stuff. And what it does is it basically just kind of acts like we don't have full college entrance exams like the way Japan, for example, has a standardized entrance exam or something like that. There's kind of nothing like that in the US, so it gives just a general rating for a student that helps you or maybe works against you to get into colleges. So this reveals your age. Not necessarily. I mean, kind of, but not really. That shit was 20 years ago, yeah. I remember mine, not because I remember the number, but because I remember that I got a perfect score. And I didn't study for it, and I was not expecting to go in and get a perfect score, but I think I just did the thing really well that day. And I remember the valedictorian of the year was very upset because he got one question. He got one, you know, wrong mark. And he always really, he liked me as a person. He hated me as he saw me as a rival because he studied really hard and I didn't. I studied certain things really hard because I was interested in them, but I didn't just study everything for the case of academics because I didn't want to get into a great college because then I would have to pay for it, and I was always not a person with money, and I was not going to go into debt for a really good school if I didn't think it mattered in my field, etc., etc., etc. So I didn't worry about it. I was like, I'm just going to worry about getting into the one I want to get into, which is good, but I can also, afford it. But I still did really well on a lot of stuff anyway, and it made him really mad. But we were friends. He was also an orchestra nerd, and the two of us were close, in that way, but he would get so pissed all the time. Got a perfect score for writing, too? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Actually, writing was always one of my best subjects in general. That was one of the things that, I wrote anything and I did well on it, and I think it's because everything I wrote sounded like British humor, and they weren't used to that in America. So I think I got quirky points. I don't think it meant that I was that good at writing. I think it just, I knew my audience, and I got quirky points all the time. And the writing was baseline good enough to, get a good score, but then on top of that, they'd be like, this one's funny, and I would always... Yeah, not like the other girls. It's because I read, well, not just read, I read and watched a lot of British-based everything for a very long time, because that's what my mom liked. So I'd write one sentence that has that kind of flavor, and an American person would read it and they'd be like, oh, never heard that one before. Yeah, I watch PBS. Exactly. I'm like it's nothing special at all. It's not that unique or anything, but they'd find it funny in an essay form, so I guess. I guess so, man. And that's why you're so good at telling stories and explaining topics? No, because my dad is really good at telling stories and my mom is really good at explaining topics. That's where that comes from. My mother was never a teacher, but if she were, you'd be like, she was my favorite teacher growing up, you know? She's insanely good. She herself is really smart and, you know, had a brainy job before she decided to just be with kids. And she did, you know, get work, find work later again, but, you know, she ended up just staying home a lot of the time and making sure that she taught us shit. So I was kind of, you know, I was kind of blessed to have that. And then my dad is a really, really good storyteller. I will say, though, he embellishes a lot because he'll tell me a story and then a year later I'll hear him tell someone else a story and I'm like, that no. that didn't happen. That is not it. Which I think for good stories it's fun to embellish if it doesn't really matter that much, but he would really like change stuff like way too far, and not in a bad way that it would be harmful, but it was just not the same story. It's like, all right, well, if this is a comedy set, just say it, Dad. Just say it. But he's good at stuff like that, so I don't know. I always wanted to do a podcast episode with him. I thought that would be cool. Not anything live, but just like do a video with some of my family members. Just be like, tell a story. Dad, tell a story. That'd be cool. I think you'd like it. The problem is, what stories does he have that don't, like, you know, include our address and phone number? Yeah, are they doxing us? I mean, any family member of any streamer is, absolutely. Any longtime friend is, anyone is. That's why none of my family members have ever, like, said yes to being on stream or anything. I've, like, asked, but also been like, you know, here's the risk, though. You'd have to do this, this, and this. And they're all like, yeah, don't invite me. But all of them were like, bad idea. Hunting stories? I could ask him to tell a hunting story, definitely. Something like that would be good. For sure. Do your parents know what you do? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My dad watches sometimes. Not that often. He doesn't, like, watch the streams so much live as he told me sometimes he's put them on when he's in the car to listen. But more so, he watches clips and stuff. Yeah. My mom's aware. She's just not, she's not in the online space very much, like at all. She's playing a lot of video games and stuff, but, you know, just very separately. So she's not really, you know, she's very aware of it, but, and like, whenever I'm doing something new, if I'm getting a new model or something, I show her. I'm like, look. I send her a picture. Well, I don't send them. I, like, show it to her when I see her, and I'm like, look, on my phone, look at this picture. This is the new design of this outfit. You know, I show it to her. So she likes seeing that stuff. She's really, like, interested in it in general. But she's not really a watcher or something. She doesn't, not that she doesn't understand streams. It's just not, like, you know, her entertainment of choice. If that makes sense. How does he feel about us calling you daddy? I don't know if he knows about that one yet, but he would like it. He would like it. My dad and I are very, very similar in some ways. He'd be like, that's my daughter. You know? He doesn't sound like that at all. He's actually very soft-spoken. Soft-spoken, but scary. What mob division would he be in? He wouldn't be in any. He's exempt. He gets to be neutral. He's one of the few that gets to be neutral. It's good that you're able to share with her and she understands. I mean, she's been used to me being into, like, video games and stuff for forever. And she herself, like, the NES that we had was hers. I want to make that clear. she bought an NES and was like, I want to play Super Mario Brothers. And then we all also played it. So, you know, like, it's not. She would never not be supportive. She also, my mom loves science fiction, right? So she's very open to, you know, unorthodox shit in general. But she loves fantasy novels and science fiction and all that. So any science fiction show I have seen at least a bit of because she's watched all of them. Every science fiction novel she has read, like all of them, all of them. And most of the books I've been into where I've read have been because that's her taste, and I just kind of like, you know, borrowed her books and ended up with the same exact taste. That's it. I'm not a clone of my mother. I think our personalities are incredibly different, but our tastes are very similar. If that makes sense. Our tastes in what we are entertained by, our tastes in the things we like to read and do are similar. Aesthetically, our tastes are completely different, but you know. You know. Your parents still don't understand video games after like 15 years? Yeah, my dad used to play, I mentioned this before, he used to play Quake and stuff, like way back in the day. So I got into PC gaming initially because he bought games to try playing because he thought they were cool. But yeah, I don't think, I'm trying to remember like what the last game he's played was. I think it's been a really long time. Really long time. And they, you know, after that kind of era, like NES and everything, by the time the N64 came out, they were not playing games. Me and my brothers were playing games, and they would watch sometimes, but they'd just be doing their shit. They didn't really care about it that much. You know? Can't believe Geek Mom loves Ursula Le Guin. Yeah, no, she likes, like, Isaac Asimov, for example, as an author that she likes. She actually, when we're talking about novels, we're both ashamed and glad to really like Terry Goodkind. I don't like his writing, but I also really like his writing at the same time. So I have a bunch of his novels. But she likes Discworld. She likes, you know what series she and I both really love. Which I don't think it's the right read for everyone. But if you just like science fiction because you like hearing about scientific projects in story form, there's a series by Kim Stanley Robinson. Red Mars, then Blue Mars, then Green Mars are the three, it's the Mars trilogy. It's the 3 books in the trilogy. I love this trilogy, and it's just a science fiction story about a team terraforming Mars. I love those. You read them, Blazing? Yeah, they're really good. They're a little wordy, but not like, you don't have to be a smarty pants, you know what I mean, to read them. They're not like pretentious. These 3. They're not the hardest read, you know. They're just really solid. But my mom loves these. I love these. Big recommend. And they're just informative. Like, you could tell the story is written by someone who just really got interested in this topic and decided to make a story about it. It's very heavy on the topic and not just the plot line, you know, which I like. I feel like that's important for science fiction. Because usually people that read it like shit like that. So when you kind of leave out how things work or why they work or whatever, like, what's the point? It just works. It's basically a fantasy novel at that point, right? Which is also okay. Ian Banks is good if you want a slightly less dry version of Asimov. Yeah, I don't know. While I do find it dry, I like that. So I like reading Asimov. But a lot of my tastes and things that I've always liked to read or like media that I've liked have come straight from my mom's taste. And then my dad's taste is like, it's changed over the years. You guys have this with your parents? He used to love fantasy and all these kinds of things. And it's not that he doesn't anymore, but he turned more normal. He turned more normal. So now he's like, I like rock and roll. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I know you always did. I do too. He's like, yeah, I like rock and roll. I'm like, okay. What else? I'm gonna shoot my gun, you know? And he's not like K-Kona at all, but like, you know, yeah, brother. But thank God he doesn't like watching football, so no one in my family really, or in the nuclear family, no one's really been into like watching sports on the television, which is great, because I don't like that at all either. Unless it's F1. It's the only time. Maybe soccer. Maybe. Depending. But I only like that live usually. Outside of that, He's like a sports doer, not a sports watcher. Thank God. If I had like a football dad, I would hate it. I would hate it. You love F1? I always watched F1 a lot because I had a friend a long time ago that was really into it. And like her whole family was into it. So if I would go over there, I would just see it on the TV. And I just got into it like really early on. And my dad's not a car collector, but he knows how to work on them really well because he comes from a time when everyone had to be able to work on them for their cars to not explode, you know? Like you just had to learn back then. And you know, so he taught me all that shit. And then if we watch F1, we'd be like really interested in the pit crew the most. You know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? As you get older, it's harder to enjoy fantasy because you're more disappointed in reality. Shut up. Stop being depressed. The more you say sentences like that, the worse you're gonna feel. Shut up. And I mean that nicely, all right? I'm so disappointed in reality. Reality was never good. You're just coming to a realization of what it's like. Okay? It was always like this. And if you're like, it's so grim, it's so bleak, you're comparing it to fantasy as if that was ever gonna be real. It's actually quite average. You know? It's quite average, guys. All right? The world you see around you is like normal as hell. And you'll be like, we're heading to hell in a handbasket. Okay, yeah, well, the Roman Empire happened and the Roman Empire also fell. Shit happens all the time. And things change all the time. Be happy you're alive today and you have medicine. I wish I could go back to the 1100s. It was a simpler life. I would have been so happy. No, you wouldn't have. You probably wouldn't be alive. You'd have one bad tooth and you would have died of sepsis. Okay? Unless you can't afford said medicine. Hey, you can afford a lot of other things that keep you from needing it as much, though. And also, that's normal. You're a human and you're feeble. That was going to happen no matter what time you were in. At least you have a chance. Know what I mean? This is the best time. The best time is right now. Just be happier, bro. No, you don't have to be happier. Just accept it. And the more times you say sentences like that, and you're like, reality sucks, the more you're just sitting there wallowing instead of doing something. You know what you could do right now? Some fucking jumping jacks. Get those endorphins going, dude. It's time. Ryuko! Yeah, Ryuko, I think you're having a great time in the present. I think the present is wonderful. All right. Ooh, good point. We live in a time where a Japanese company is developing a drug that makes you regrow teeth. Ooh, I like that. Well, I'll like that when it's finished if it comes to fruition later. I'll say that. Maybe I don't like the trials. That could be a little freaky, but depending. You know. That's cool. That's cool. You want to be a shark? Would you rather keep your teeth the way they are and be able to lose some and never get them back? Or would you rather be able to replace bad ones, but you have to deal with a second row of teeth sometimes? They kind of grow in when they want and then push the others out. You have to deal with that constantly changing. Shark teeth. Replace teeth all day, option 2. Okay. Starts growing a tooth off your forehead. You know that happens. There are some times, not saying it's common, but there are times where something will happen and a cell will start doing some freaky shit. And usually it only does these in certain areas of the body because of where your stem cells tend to be. But yeah, sometimes, oops, it's on my forehead. You have tooth in your nose, right? When I had my issue and I had my tumor that I was talking about the other time, there was a part of us, a portion of time where they were telling me all about teratomas. And they were like, this could be one of these. And yeah, they grow teeth, they grow hair, they grow brain matter. Basically, it's a tumor made of a bunch of cells that have not yet differentiated. And then they start differentiating and then growing. Much like a baby, but it's not a separate life form. It's just a bunch of your own cells differentiating. So you end up with a mass of stuff. And it's whatever they decide to be. whatever they choose to be. You could have some of those cells that are like the inner lining of your intestine, and then they just produce mucus all day. They just go and spit out mucus all day. Disgusting. Teratoma. They're gross. You can look up pictures of them if you want. I'm not going to show them on stream because they're disgusting. Like, you're actually going to be horrified if you look at them. So if you want to look at it yourself. Don't share them in the Discord. Nothing like that. Yeah, gotcha cells. Ooh. Love me a gotcha game. You want a tumor that grows eyes and teeth that rocks? Not until you have to get
Born
taken
too
out.
late to explore the world, born too early to explore the galaxy. Born just in time to watch 3D GEEGA berate chat for being edgy.
Exactly. I don't like when people say, you know, oh, I would have rather lived in the past because I wasn't a streamer then. And that's not nice. And I should be the most important thing in your life. Right? You should not be typing in my chat unless you're willing to say sentences like, I'm glad I was born right now because you're here, haha. Because you're streaming, haha. All right? That's what it's all about, buddy. True. Sorry, Daddy. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm here to align you. I'm here to align you. This title again, love it. Should just be the title every day. You know, I've noticed this. Some streamers will try to come up with like a clever title or something related to what they're doing every day. And then some people just do the same thing. The same title every day. And they'll only add shit if they need to. I don't like care about the creative titling anymore. I don't know if you've noticed. I haven't cared for the past year. I just type some shit. Sometimes I just type Swag Wednesday. You know? I started doing that. I saw that and I went, that sounds easy. Mike gave up and just smashed his keyboards. Yeah, Buddha's title for 2 years has just been yo. Every day, yo. If I'm not on at the same time as him, I'll go and I'll check out his channel. I'll go slash Buddha. And his title every day is just yo, all lowercase. Pirate leg on barrel stance. Well, I am stepping on something. I have a footrest. I have a footrest that I usually push to the back wall. I don't always use it. Sometimes I do. And I've just been kind of... It's nice. You thought it was so wild that so many GTA RP streamers just titled their thing character name and then no pixel. Yeah, I mean... My title can just be whatever the fuck and then vshoujo, which is basically what I've been doing. Pretty much. Some titles have been busted on mobile for years. You know what sucks? I'll change my title and then a minute later go live. And 9 times out of 10, something that Stream Elements does, the bot in chat, it'll take your title and it'll be like, GEEGA is now live with, and it'll post your stream name and the category you're in. And it gets it wrong. It posts the old one, like, most of the time. I hate it. I have to wait a full, 5 minutes. Around 5 minutes. I can't stand that. It's so annoying. It's such a little thing, and it doesn't matter because none of you see it except for, the 30 of you that sit there and wait for the stream. Actually, I don't know how many of you wait before the stream starts. I don't know how many people are actually there. I never check, but, you know. Not talking about the latest VTuber drama. I just complain about 2 tweets and then that's it. It's the most drama you get out of me. I'll be like, this guy's stupid. And I don't even point out the person. I just go, this sentence was stupid. Or I never name specifics. I hate naming specifics because I don't want to get people being mean to somebody. So I'll just go, I keep seeing people talking about this on Twitter and it's annoying. I'm hitting the mute button. That's all you get out of me. I don't know how some people have it in them to be like a drama channel. Or here's what I'll say. I saw one of the funniest things in Discord server. How did he say it? A dude who streams to a large audience was in a friend's Discord server where he played games with some friends. What did he say here? How did he word it? Oh, he played games with friends, and then in that server, he typed a message after the collab. He said at here to everyone who was there, which is why I saw it, because I got pinged. He said, thanks for playing video games today, guys. Thanks for letting me have fun, because I never have fun on stream, with 5 exclamation points. Because this person is one of the people that does talk about some dramatic things, and they're not a full drama channel, but like they do talk about some stuff that's, you know, dramatic or current events or streamers or whatever. And I was like, yeah. I get it. Just seeing this like well-known streamer be like, I had fun playing video games. I never get that fun. Woo! And of course they're like half joking, like they do what they do, not just because it works, but also because they do want to talk about these things. But wanting to do something even when it's not fun, I understand. Because fun is not always the thing that you need to have to necessarily enjoy the overall picture of what you're doing, all right? Does that make sense? Some people have this idea that everyone who does something creative, they have to be having fun and actively happy for what they're doing to make sense for them to not be mad at that person for choosing that career, whatever, their content or whatever. But, you know, I think it has a lot more to do with a lot of other things. A feeling of satisfaction does not come from, do I have fun every day, for some people, right? Yeah, fulfillment, right. It's a lot deeper than that. It's different for different people. Some people, it is that for them. They have to be actively having fun, doing a creative thing to like it. Other people, just getting shit done leaves them feeling fulfilled, even if they were stressed the whole time. I'm one of those people. I'll take on a task that makes me feel like shit, and then I'll get it done, and I'll be like, yes! You know? You know what I mean? Like that's what keeps me going, and that's the feeling I like the most, more than I'm having fun in the moment. So, I don't know, I just like that. And that's what I want out of life, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean it's the only thing I ever want ever, but, you know. News tubers don't seem to be in it for fun very often. Well, I think unless you know them personally, you can't really say that. But, yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm really tired of that. I'll say that much. I think, the problem is, so here's the issue. If you want to do news, but you want to focus on a smaller community like VTubing, which you're going to think, oh, it's not that small. It is very small. In the grand scheme of things, it's very small. There's not a lot to talk about. So it's hard to put out the amount of content you need to make that be a living for you. So you have to find stuff. And you need to make your segments longer. You need to make people care more about what you're saying, because you can't just cherry pick a few dramatic things that were actually really dramatic and talk about them. You have to cherry pick some things that maybe weren't that crazy and talk about them anyway. So people perceive them as bigger than they are, because there's just not that much to talk about. So I'm not saying I necessarily blame them all for this. I wouldn't choose to do it. They can choose to do it. They do. And, you know, it leads to a scenario where they're going to talk about every little thing. And people are going to be like, no way, oh, that happened. And it's like a big fucking nothing. But that's all there is. And if they didn't do that, and they only talked about the really important stuff, they wouldn't have enough content, and they wouldn't be able to keep their channels, like, afloat. They wouldn't be able to make it make sense. You know? So I get it. To which I say, hey, maybe pivot to another content style. But you know what? Some people just still really want to make it work. And that's the only way to make it work, if I'm being honest. It's the only way. Yeah, even mainstream news does the same thing. That's what I'm saying. So if they have to do it, clearly, like, everyone in any niche has to do it. It just makes sense. I still wouldn't choose to do it, but, you know. That's because I'm a super funny and entertaining, hilarious person that you like to watch stand around and talk for hours. Ha ha ha. Am I right, guys? Frank, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, Nova. I thought you said you're playing Fortnite. Nova, don't ruin it. It's my in-character reasoning for saying I'm a big old streamer who has to go stream not GTA. That's my in-character reasoning, but I'm almost never playing Fortnite. Not that I don't. I do still like playing it, but not on stream, usually. Or not that I don't like playing on stream, I just don't. It's my reasoning, okay? Let me have this. You said I've been recommended VTuber drama stuff the past year. I've watched maybe 5 minutes of it before I couldn't be bothered. Oh, I just, you know, even if I like an individual person or I like one video, I just mute all those channels. I just tell YouTube not interested. Because I never want to hear about something someone in my community is doing or that happened to them from like a news channel. I want to hear it directly from them or not at all. Or I just don't care about it. If it doesn't affect me, I usually don't really care that much, to be honest. And I'd rather just see like that person Twitter posting and saying, hey, I'm going on hiatus or something, than like hear someone else tell me about it. That's just me. That's just me. Yeah, I love the do not recommend channel, but yeah. Was it hard to learn this stuff to do 3D? Easy to learn, hard to put together because everything likes to break all the time. But the actual like learning how it works and learning how to make things function sometimes, not actually that hard. Not too bad, man. Hear from the horse's mouth is the saying. Yeah, I just like to hear things directly from the sources, and then if it's not a source that I normally interact with, then it's not important enough to me to go look into it. Does that make sense? Like, I'll be honest, when people come in here, and it's not just VTubers, it's streamer drama too, like, when someone comes into chat and they're like, did you hear about this person did this thing? 9 times out of 10, I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. I have no clue. I'll hear about stuff a week later. But no, I don't know. No, I didn't hear about it. Because I mute everything and I watch cat videos on Twitter. All right. You think you're going to start rage baiting drama with alt accounts on Twitter and then use your YouTube account to cover the manufactured drama? Do you know how many people do that too? It's crazy. So many of them do that. I should start a fight with myself on Twitter. You've given me a great idea. You've given me an excellent idea. I should make an alt account and make it a fake vtweeter and then argue with myself about some sort of streaming topic. Maybe about ad revenue. That'd be a good one. People love talking about ad revenue. Frank with the 5. Thank you. Frank with the 5. And Spark, welcome back for 41 months. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I should do that. Oh, that'd be so good. I've talked to some friends about it too. I'm like, my ongoing joke with them all the time, I always say this. If someone's ever like, yeah, you know, I posted this thing, it didn't do that well. I thought I was going to do better. Like, they don't usually, my friends don't usually like doom spiral about those things, but we'll talk to each other about it. And they'll be like, yeah, I thought this thing was going to, you know, be seen more. I'll be like, well, hey, if you ever want me to call you a bitch on Twitter, you know, I'm here. If you want me to just do a call out post and just start some shit over nothing, I am here for you, friend. We can make this happen. And none of them have ever taken me up on it, but I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll go to some old tweet of theirs where their opinion is like easy to like talk about, and I'll just necro that post, quote retweet it, and be like, shut up, bitch. This is why you're wrong. And rage bait the fuck out of it. And they never do. They never take me up on it, so I haven't had to do it yet. Oh well. Surely one of these days they'll do it, right? Surely one of these days. Ooh, start some beef with Gunrun to really get the YouTubers going. Ooh. Yeah, you know, people get really, so emotionally invested in, like, the group dynamic. Admus with the 5, thank you. They get so emotionally invested that if I get sick, they're like, which one of your members did this to you? Now, in this case, I could literally point fingers, not because I think it actually was them, but because I was on a trip with friends just before this for my group. But, like, anything at all happens, and they're like, which of your members did this? I'll be like, guys, I've been sad, and they'll be like, she's leaving. Like, people are crazy with it. Yeah, like it's WWE, man. Like, I've been so tired. It's that contract, isn't it? Like, I'm like, what? No, I had bad sleep. That shit's always funny to me. We're all in on the bit. I'm not talking about people in on the bit. I'm talking about people not in on a bit. They're not joking. Their brain does that. They're crazy, man. They're crazy. It's funny, though. Yeah, the doom spiral. I was just talking to Haruka yesterday about doom spiraling in general, and I was like, we need people to hope spiral a bit more. We need a little bit of that. Just love me a good idiot doom spiral. Man. I'm not really... I think it's both my best trait and my worst trait is that I'm really lax. Right? And I don't really, like, care about a lot of shit. So I have to dig deep to find it within myself when someone's doing about something, to, like, find something to tell them to make them feel better that isn't just, shut up, it's not that bad. You know what I mean? I'm a hope spiraler. I'll start on a project and I'll be like, this is gonna be so good, guys. It's gonna be crazy. I don't know. I see people spiraling over all these little things and I'm like, I just don't have this in me. This doesn't exist in me. I don't know. Sounds like the congestion's gotten better. It's a lot better. I now only have a dry cough and I'm sipping water really often. Every time you see me do this, that's a straw. So, hopefully that's helping. I'm also just talking a lot. I'm able to hold the cough back, but I've been going every day, 100 times a day. Actually, more than 100 times, if I'm being honest. Like the Twitch adpocalypse doom spiral. Yeah, everyone's freaking the fuck out. And I'm like, number one, it's never as bad as it seems. Number two, things always change. Every time something changes, people are like, oh my god, this is forever. And I'm like, how long have you been living? Did you not realize everything changes all the time by now? Everything changes every day, man. But that, and then lastly, you know, everyone freaks the fuck out over, like, the adpocalypse. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, if you've been a creator this long, why don't you have other streams of revenue? Why are you so concerned over your ad revenue going down when you should have been working this whole time to have other shit? Like, that's just, this is a product of you not having thought about that this whole time or worked toward it. And I understand you've been working toward it and you're not there yet. Doom spiral. Okay, I get it, you know? But so many people have done nothing to, you know, have other revenue streams. Or when people were dooming about Twitch and they were like, I think Twitch is going to die. Where am I going to go? I was like, well, maybe you should have been posting on YouTube this whole time, brother. And I hate being that guy because I don't want to act like I think that that would have worked for everyone by now. If that were the case, everyone would be a huge creator. But, still, you should be trying, man. I think it was funny when people were freaking out about ads because the only people that make significant money from ads are huge streamers and they make bank anyway. So they're like, oh man, I'm not going to make my million this year. Oh, my 300K, you know? It's going to go down to 250. Oh, my 400K is going to go down to 210, man. Oh, however am I going to live? I can't afford my McMansion anymore. Those are the people affected by it, okay? The smaller creators, does it still affect them? Yes. Could it be the difference between, you know, certain things being affordable and not? Yes, but it's a lot easier to be like, I'll take 2 sponsors a month and it'll make all that money back. You know what I mean? For a small creator. It's the big creators that were actually hurt by ad stuff. So I think what happens is a big creator posts something on YouTube and they're like, the ad situation is crazy, you know, or whatever their YouTube title is. And then all the smaller streamers are like, oh, me too, because they think that their situation's in any way similar. It's not. There was that one guy who was like, I'm not making 50K, I'm only making 2K now. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of these people, they're losing, like, okay, let's say, and first of all, the adpocalypse turned out to not really be real. It came back, but people were making 30K a month. There were a few creators that were making at least 30K a month ad revenue. And then that went down to 5K a month. And I'm like, when you add in, you also have your sub revenue and all these other things. That 5K probably pays for most people's houses. Like, I understand maybe you live in a mansion and you have to pay bills on that. But how, with all your other shit, can you not still afford things? You can, you're just complaining that you're not making as much. And I get, as a creator, you do need to make more because this doesn't last as long. So it's more like make a lot right now, but it's not safe for 40 years kind of thing, right? So realistically, just because you can pay for your shit now doesn't mean you're okay later. Like, I get it. I think people forget to factor that in. Still, even without that, you're not living on the street. So, like, you're allowed to complain when your situation goes from somewhere to worse. I'm not here to always compare and say you can't complain, but they act like they're dying sometimes. And I'm like, they're like, I can't live. And I'm like, sell your car, man. You don't need 3. Sorry. Sorry. I live in California and 5K only covers like 1/10 of my house. The thing is, like, they live in LA. They live in LA in like a beautiful building. And they pay, you know, at least 10K a month for it. If something in your life situation changed, fucking move, buddy. Move. Save money, move. Fly to LA when you need to do shit with creators. Move. Your problem isn't how much you make so much as it is that you could work remotely. You're a streamer. You could work from anywhere and you chose to live in LA, you idiot. You stupid idiot. I understand the convenience of being around the other creators. Like, I get it, but geez. Only the people that are in content groups that live, like, near each other for the sake of being content group actually need that. I don't know, man. I just move. I have a friend, won't say who, big streamer, well-known, lives in the middle of nowhere in a nice town that's just not that huge, not that densely populated, not that expensive. When they need to do something, they just fly to LA anytime they need to. And look, they save so much more money. They're not concerned about how long their career on Twitch is going to last because they're just able to save everything. And they'll be all right. How do people live with themselves? I don't know. I was raised like to be really frugal. So in my mind, I'm like, how do you do this? But I'm sure there are people who are like, oh, I have to live in LA or I'll die. So different perspective, I guess. But I don't know. If you're working in a volatile industry, save your damn money. Yeah, just don't get, like... Here's the thing. I think if you make good money and you want to buy a bigger house, you want to buy a nicer car, you should be allowed to spend your money. But don't buy a 10,000 square foot mansion for you and one other person to live in and maybe have a friend over. 4,000 square feet is huge for that number of people. And also within a price range in most places where, like, you know, if you're making streamer bank, you could afford it, but also save money if you're one of those really big ones, right? But they'll buy a 10K. I mean, I think 2K is like square feet is more than enough for like 2 people. Well, more than enough. That's still like a crazy amount. The only reason you might want more is if you have like a dog and you want them to run around, right? I don't know. But still, people live so far beyond their means because they can, and then something bad happens and they start freaking out. I'm like, maybe you should have thought about this. I don't know, man. I don't know. But the good news is some streamers have really been doing that. A lot of my friends that lived in LA started moving to Vegas, which is getting more expensive than it was, but it's still just so much cheaper than LA, but it's close enough that the flight between the two is really fast. So if they want to go do things with friends that are living over there, boom, they're there in an instant. You know? Really, really quick, really easy. So seeing that and seeing them save their money that way has actually been really relieving. Really relieving. It's nice. You have 2K square feet and you have whole rooms you don't use? Yeah, I told you guys I have I mean, my place isn't that huge, but still it's big enough that I have 2 rooms that I don't use. And I have offered them to some people, and I actually have a couple creator friends that genuinely wanted to move in. One of them is like, they're figuring out if they're going to get their own place or move here, but they might actually just move in. As a YouTuber friend, they might just move in. And then another one that was like, they kind of wanted a place that they could be in this area every now and then, like a week out of a month. So I was like, hey, why don't I set up this guest room with a setup in the corner? You put your setup in the corner. Fuck it. I'm not using it. I'm not using it. There's a whole extra bathroom near those rooms that I'm not using at all. and I will not use. So use it. So I may actually have some friends do that. Because I don't know, like, I didn't want a huge place. I don't think this place is huge, but it does have a few extra, like the way the rooms are partitioned. I would have rather have the same square footage, but not have as many rooms. But they don't make things like that. They don't make things like that. And then if I wanted something smaller, almost all those homes and everything and apartments and things were just kind of shitty. They were just shitty in the places I wanted to be. So I was like, all right, I have to get something. I don't know. So I did. I have 2 extra rooms, so we'll see. We'll see. Rent it out for other content creators during cons? No. No, I'm not making my house into a hotel. Are you kidding me? Ugh. Ugh. So Wolfie has his own room? Yeah, well, Wolfie has his own room right now because one of those rooms that's unused, quote unquote, unused, is actually just a cat room right now. I just put a bunch of cat shit in it. Not literal cat shit. Cat stuff. Cat things. The good ones for that are 55 plus communities. Yeah, I wanted, okay. This was my ideal. I wanted to find a place that was like 1,200, 1,400 square feet. Preferably just a big square, 2 bedrooms, and like 1 giant great room. Right? What is set up like that is also nice-ish quality? It's always active adult communities. You must be an elderly human being to be living in them. I'm not allowed in. I'm not allowed in. They don't let me in. I tried to look for that. Everything was either really small and the right layout, but shit. Or not shit, but too big. And I was like, I don't want to pay for this space. I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to use it. So I paid for something that wasn't actually too big. It was like the smallest of the nice options, and I made it work, but now I have extra rooms, so I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it work. GEEGA's 102. I'm 878. But it doesn't calculate that way in human years. So they won't let me in. No foyer. Yeah, oh my god, so many useless areas. So many homes that I saw and like especially condos, right? Condos, when you want one that's a little bigger, they start having all these completely weird, useless rooms. Let me ask you guys, what is the point of having a living room and then a foyer and on the other side a sitting room? A living room and a sitting room for all the sitting I do. When am I gonna fucking use that? To be pretentious, I have family members who have sitting rooms. The living room is the one with the TV and the fireplace in it. The sitting room is the one with the furniture that you rarely touch. Extra fancy looking, and the only time it gets used is for holidays. Which, with the number of family members I have, no one's doing 4 or 5 holidays a year at their house. It rotates between family members, and you're lucky if you get to do one thing a year. Yeah, it's just for hosting. But they only do one thing a year, and we have family members over for smaller gatherings all the time, and we all just use the living room. Or everyone stands around the kitchen. Fuck it, you don't need either of those rooms. Everyone stands around the kitchen island and picks at the food. While all their aunts and uncles and moms are like, stop doing that. We're eating in 30 minutes. Stop doing that. And then we sit around and do that in the kitchen for like hours before we eat. We don't need any of these rooms. Put a couch in the kitchen. Fuck it. We don't need anything else. So why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Why do we have a sitting room? Why do we have a sitting room? I don't get it. It's for those really ugly fancy couches where it has wood scroll work around the edge. It's all carved. And when you have to clean it, you can't just dust it with a duster because it has too many nooks and crannies. So you have to get a rag and you have to spray it with Pledge, and it smells like lemon. And then you get in all the edges and you polish all the wood shit. It's the worst. My grandmother moved in with another family member, and I said, thank God. Because every time I would go over there, she'd be like, oh my God, thank God you're here. Thank God you're here. I need you to polish the furniture. Oh my God. Every time, she'd hand me a rag, and she'd be like, thank goodness. And she would have me do it, and not any of my siblings or any of my cousins, because I did a good job. I should have done a shitty job. I did a good job. She'd be like, get in all the nooks and crannies, and I would go, yes, and I would do it. And because of that, she made me always do it. So every time I'd go to her house, it wouldn't even need redoing because I just did it 2 weeks ago. And she'd be like, you have to polish the furniture. So I would just do it every time I went there. and I actually really like woodwork, right? Carved wood. I love when there's a nice piece over a doorway that has all these carvings of scroll work. I think it's gorgeous and I like it, but I don't want to own it because then I have to clean it. And I spent so many years polishing all the little, no. I hate it. See why you never give 100%. Yeah, I know. Well, I didn't understand that when I was little, so. Did I learn that at some point? Yes, but I was little, and I didn't know it yet. And they realized that I could do things, and then, I did them forever. That's it. It's terrible. I think she thinks you like to do this. No, I told her. That's the thing, is I was very, always very honest with family members. And I would go to her and I would say, why don't you make someone else do it? You make me do this every time. It's pissing me off. And she would go, well, you do the best job at it. And I said, you have to do it. And I go, oh. And I wouldn't say no. We don't do that in my family. We don't go, no. You're allowed to argue your point, but you can't just be like, no. For something like that. Exploitable child labor. Do you know what child labor is? You think cleaning something in a home is child labor? If you're the kind of person who doesn't let a child clean a lot, that kid's gonna grow up with no discipline and they're gonna watch TikTok on their phone all day. And then when you're like, why don't you pick up your clothes off the floor? They're gonna be like, oh, I know, Mom, I'm gonna do it later. And then they never do it. And then when they go to college, they have the messiest room and they feel guilty about it. And they're like, why can't I clean my room? I can't bring myself to clean my room. And then they realize that they should have listened when they were younger. And then they doom spiral about that for the next 40 years. So, I'm just saying, you should make your kids clean stuff. And if it's a family member, some kid in the family, and you're not their parent, and they're like standing around in the kitchen at your home, and you're trying to cook because it's holiday time, you should go, chop the garlic. Find some stupid little job for them to do. Every time. Make them do something. Okay, I don't want to? Well, that's your problem. Not my problem. I don't care if you do or don't. I'm just telling you what you should do. You would clean every Saturday in middle school, the bathroom, then you would make money clean the whole house if you wanted. Oh, they would give you money for it? God, I wish I had that. I never made money for doing any chores. I simply had to do them. And I had neighbors who were older. And I would hear stories of other kids going and like saying to a neighbor, oh, I'll rake the leaves, I'll mow your lawn for money. No, no, no.
Do your chores, chat. And faction redeems.
Do them now. Actually, yeah, do your dailies, don't forget. But the thing is, I heard these tales and I went, oh my God, I could make money. That's incredible. And I would go to my neighbors' houses and I would start doing yard work for them. And my mother would go, you cannot accept money from them. That is your neighbor, and they're like family, which is true. I was very close to all of my neighbors. We were like family. And they would go, they're like family. Do not accept their money. A lot of my neighbors were elderly. She'd be like, no, you're going to do that for them because they can't even do it themselves. And that's what neighbors do. And I was like, holy shit, she's right. And then I would just do all their yard work for free. And that was, I didn't have a yard for too long. So thankfully, I didn't have to suffer too much. But even at times when I didn't have a yard, I would still, for elderly neighbors, go and like sweep the sidewalk and keep it clean. I would do all of that. Oh, it's terrible. It was terrible. You know what city yard work is like usually? You ever rake leaves off of concrete? I used a rake on grass for the first time many years into my life, and I realized how much easier it was. Because up until that point, raking the leaves was getting them off of a sidewalk and off of, like, you know, patios and brick and shit. So, yes, you're like, right, you got the rake and you're like, all over the concrete. Oh my God. It's so much harder. It's so much harder. And it shreds the rake. Even if it's metal, it messes it up and it goes skirt all over it. And then many years later, I finally got to rake a lawn, and I was like, oh my God, it's supposed to be like this. She used a broom at that point. I mean, so we had a rake and we had a broom. And I was always handed the rake. And one of my older brothers, who would do most of that stuff with me, he'd always grab the broom. And he'd be like, you get the rake. So. No leaf blower? No, that costs money. We did everything like completely analog or without powering anything wherever possible because it cost the least money. It was just manpower. Hi, Octo. Talking about growing up in a city. Yeah, no. A leaf blower means you have to purchase gas. And we weren't doing that. Why purchase gas when you could just, you know, have one of the kids do it with their arms? You feed them anyway, so they have the energy anyway, right? So that was, you know. So we never had a leaf blower. Fuck that. Also, if you had a leaf blower, you know, in that kind of area, people would all get pissed off at you. Because everyone lived, you know, very close and in little buildings. No one had their own standalone houses or anything like that. You know, everything's attached or you know, or it's like a tall building or whatever. So you don't want to be using a leaf blower outside. Everyone's going to lean out their window and be like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, and it's not a noise complaint like they talk to someone who's, you know, the czar of the block. They just lean out the window and they're like, you got to stop that, buddy. So no one had leaf blowers. Everyone did that shit by hand. I think leaf blowers are a really suburban thing. I actually like I never used to hear them or anything. And then I started like kind of driving around, traveling more, going to friends' houses and things. I started seeing leaf blowers everywhere, and I realized how stupid they were because they just move the leaves off of one lawn to the next. They don't remove them. They're so dumb. And wind exists. The air moves around the world all the time, sometimes faster on some days and slower on some other days, but it's always there and it's always moving. This thought process is so... I know the world is like that. I'll just make it someone else's problem by leaf blowing off my lawn, but like, I don't like doing that to people. I'll rake the leaves, you know, whatever. I don't know, man. I never understood it. Never did. Never did. Let's make it someone else's problem. That's the thing is I know what it is about. Here's the thing. I think when you live in a denser area, or when you grow up especially, when you grow up in a denser area where everyone's choices and actions affect each other more, you become on average more considerate. And you're less likely to opt for something that would purposefully make someone else's life worse. Because you have to deal with people all the time. You have to talk to them all the time. You see them constantly because you're right near them. You can hear them through the wall. Sometimes you just sit there and talk to them through the wall because you're bored and it's too cold to go outside. So you literally just talk at the wall to your neighbor. I used to do that all the time. I had neighbors I would just talk to. I had another one. I had a window on one side. I'd open the window and talk to a neighbor across the way through their window because the window really wasn't that far. It was kind of talking distance. We would just open this one window and I'd just be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? What you cooking? I could smell it. And I'd see them in their kitchen like this, cooking, stirring. They'd open the little window. They'd be like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm making a chili. And we'd just be talking through our windows because it really wasn't that far. Do it all the time. So because of that, if I used a leaf blower, that person would open their window, hypothetically, if this happened, right? I'd open my window and they'd be like, yo, can you not with the leaf blower? My kid sleeps and I can't do it. And I'd be like, oh, sorry. Right? When you grow up like that all the time, I think you just grow up more considerate of the people around you. And not only the people directly around you, you think about it. in general, right? If I try to throw something away and I miss the garbage can, I will rush to pick it up and throw it away because I'm like, oh my god, someone could step on it. Oh, I'm affecting the world, right? And I know people will be like, but GEEGA, the cities are so dirty. That's because of volume of people. People still are better on average at throwing shit away. Growing up in San Fran was not like that at all. Yeah, well, San Francisco sucks. Fuck San Francisco. Hate that place. Their trams are cute, though. Don't get me wrong, those trams are cute as hell. That's about it. That's about it. Having worked in tech previously, fuck San Francisco. I do not like that place. I do not. I like some places on the West Coast, but that's just not one of them. I'm not a West Coast fan in general, but that's like one of the worst spots to be in. I just don't like it. I just think I don't know. Walking through San Francisco, when you're in certain districts that are obviously the more touristy areas, you walk around, you look, and you're like, oh, this is pretty. But you go to any normal neighborhood, I'm like, I just don't like this. No. Did New York just figure out trash cans exist this year? What? What do you mean by that? We've always had them. People have always used them. Some people are bad at it, and it's mostly tourists that throw shit on the ground. The areas that people live and aren't very touristy are a lot cleaner than the areas that have a lot of tourists, if I'm being totally honest. Like, for real. For real. I guess you've never been to the South. I've been to the South a billion times. I've had to live there for work. I've had to live everywhere for work. But yeah, no, I've been everywhere. My former work had me going everywhere, and then one sport that I did too. In my adult years, I traveled a lot for sport as well, so I've been everywhere. Only thing you like about San Fran is the bridge. The bridge actually is nice, but I remember walking to it, and I was thinking about doing the walk across, and I love walking. I like long distance walking. I walked a little bit along it, and I went, I get it. I like the Brooklyn Bridge more, and then I just left. I just sat in the park and looked at it. I was like, it's better than walking it. The view's better. No, thanks. When did New York really clean up? The 80s? 90s. I would say early, mid-90s. It cleaned up. A lot of people's idea of New York and how grungy and gross it is comes from older media, because genuinely, the 70s, the 80s especially, New York was really bad. Crime was incredibly bad. A lot of things have changed since then. Crime was incredibly bad. It was way dirtier. Early 90s as well, kind of like that. But around early mid 90s, there was a lot of effort to change that, and it is miles, light years apart from where it was, like for real. So a lot of the stereotypes about the place just come from what it was like back then, because a lot of media is always done in New York. A lot of movies about gangsters, about grungy shit, about villains, all these sorts of things. A lot of them take place in New York. So it's not just they would show New York, they'd show like the grungiest parts of it, because that fits the movie that they're making or the show that they're making. So, a lot of people's ideas of things kind of come from that. I remember a government official giving a speech in New York, and he made a spectacle of putting trash in a trash can. Well, okay. We actually talked about this on street. We actually talked about this. New York City has a lot of different designs for trash cans, and they're always slightly changing how they're designed so that people are more likely to use them, or it's easier to clean them out for the people that do the trash, etc., etc. They also have been trying really hard to make these high capacity trash cans. We can only put them in certain areas, but basically the majority of the trash cans underground. It's a huge cube. And there's a trash can on the top that looks like a normal one. You throw garbage in it, but the garbage actually goes down into the ground, into a big tank underneath. So instead of them having to pick up these tiny cans and empty them constantly, they could do one big run and clean out the huge things. And that was actually a big deal in the areas that got them. But not that many. I mean, you can only put those in certain areas anyway. But they're cool. Yeah, it's dumpster sized. It's dumpster sized, exactly. So those were cool, but they could only install them in certain areas because a lot of the infrastructure is just below the street or just below the sidewalk, not that far down, and you can't dig out a cube to put a trash can in it because you're gonna have to dig out a billion electrical lines and pipes and things. So they were able to put them in some areas and it was a big deal. There are also other cans that they've designed that are just, they're not even a revolutionary design. It's just them announcing that they're replacing the shitty old trash cans in one spot with new ones. And they like to announce it to let everyone know. And then, you know, the mayors will always use this as some cool opportunity to be like, look at what I did. Which means they'll go up to trash can and go, check it out, man. Wow. And then they stand up there really proud, like they're expecting people to clap for them for having just done this. And I guarantee you, New Yorkers are not looking at this and going, oh my God, wow, the trash cans. They're just going, fucking finally. Those things were giving me tetanus every time I tried to throw something out. Like they're just, where they're sitting there going, okay, what about this thing? You know? Like we're still pissed about everything else, you know, but whatever. Yeah, more like about time. Exactly. So, I don't know. It's just people that are trying to take a media opportunity to look good, and then people not from the place are like, wow, New York and their trash cans, huh? But I promise you, everything's some stupid publicity stunt, and New Yorkers hate it. Hate it. It's terrible, dude. Yeah, congratulations, you did the bare minimum. I know. One of my favorite topics when talking about the city is hostile architecture. I love when they unveil, they're like, you know, so many homeless people in your way, right? So we made benches with spikes on them. We made benches that if you sit on them for more than 3 seconds, they close on you like an Iron Maiden to make sure you can't sleep on them. Yay! And then everyone's like, love that. We put some medieval booby traps in the walls, so you have to walk at a certain pace, because if you walk too slow, the booby trap will have spears come out of the wall and you'll get stabbed. Now everyone will walk fast enough. Fuck those tourists, am I right? Like, they do this shit all the time, and I'm like, what do you... I wanna stand here. I think the worst was they took these wooden benches in the subway. So first, it was just a flat piece of wood that you sit on, and then a vertical, flat piece of wood that you lean back on. A bench, right? A normal bench. And homeless individuals would turn sideways and lay down on them and sleep. And they went, So they added armrests. They went up to these wooden benches and took other pieces of wood and placed them. So every section that is one, quote unquote, one seat had its own armrest on the side. So if you lie down, it's all bumpy and shitty. Instead, you just sit in a little slot. Problem is, the slots were really small and a lot of people couldn't even fit in them anyway because they don't want them to be too comfortable, or the homeless people just like, you know, sleep like this in the seat sitting up. So they made them small so they're not that comfortable. You can't really like spread out, you know? They did that. They still found a way. They would shove their backpacks kind of in the seat portion and make it into a bed anyway, and, you know, it would work out. They got rid of the seats entirely and they kept the backs and moved them up and angled them a little bit. So it's a thing that you just rest against like this. You just walk up to it and lean your back on it. Who the fuck does that? People just stand instead. I hate those. I was like, you got rid of my seat. My seat. Yeah, a wall. We put a piece of wall on your wall so you could lean on that instead of the regular wall. Oh. It's slightly angled so you can lean like this on it. Wow. Which I'm going to tell you right now, anytime I've tried leaning on one, within 30 seconds, I start moving and fidgeting because it's really uncomfortable. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. Yeah, and they had to pay someone to remove the bench and move that piece up or put a new piece of wood there for the thing to lean on. And you know what? They had to pay a union worker. I guarantee you, every time they do these projects, they have to pay someone who's in a union. Okay? Now, I'm not going to say I'm anti-union or anything like that. I'm just going to say in New York City, some of them are tweaking. Because they'll be like, yeah, to remove that bench, I'm going to do it at 3 a.m. So you have to pay me triple overtime. And I'm going to take 3 hours to do it. And you're going to pay for me, the guy doing the work, and you're going to pay for my supervisor who's going to stand there next to me and stare at me for 3 hours. And he's going to get quintuple overtime. And the city will be like, anything you say, Mr. Union Man. And they sign that, and then they spend like $1 million for 2 guys to remove 3 benches. No, I think unions can be great, but there's some situations that happen like that in New York often where I'm like, Jesus Christ. So then now when I see these benches, I think about, because I literally watched a guy remove a bench. I watched a worker remove a bench, and it was really late night and a train was delayed. So I was just sitting there, just watching. And I watched this dude just stand around and talk to his supervisor and laugh around and casually have conversation for 45 minutes. And then he took a thing and he undid one screw. He took one bolt out of the floor. He went, meow, put it down, kept talking to the guy. I was there for an hour and a half. Dude took one bolt out of the floor. I was like, oh my God, my taxes, man, my taxes, you know? Oh, Jesus. Every time, too. And, you know, not all of them are like this. There are people that do their fucking work, but I have friends who do work in unions. I have a lot of friends that are, you know, in normal trades and things. They make more than anyone else. Yeah, part of the local 3, you know, and they do like one thing at 5 a.m. They get paid most of their money for the month. Holy shit. And I look at that and I'm like, where's my union? Where's my streamers union? Please. Please. That's crazy. That's insane. You thought you were bold for slacking off for an extra hour? I've seen people repairing roads and things, and it just depends on who's doing it. But whenever it's union workers, it's funny as hell, man. Sometimes, a lot of the time, the workers themselves, a lot of them are actually doing the work. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. The problem is they just have 10 people standing around that are all getting paid, and 2 of them are doing the work, and the others are just like, you know, getting a paycheck. That's the part where I'm like, ugh. Ugh. Content creator union would do pretty well. It would be really difficult. It would be really, really, really difficult to make that work. Not saying it's impossible, but I don't want to be a part of being the guy that has to, or the team that has to make that function. There's so much nuance to this field in general. I don't even know. I don't even know. Bagel. I stand like that a lot. That's why the weird together, that's like one of my most favorite emotes, because I stand like that all the time. I always do the, you know, hands like this. Always. Always. Would content creators unionize against YouTube? Yeah, it'd have to be against a specific platform, realistically. I don't think it could be a general industry thing. I don't know. I don't know. Roadwork mentioned a Chicagoan has entered the chat. I know your pain. I know your pain. Said here I thought Americans slave away at work. Oh, it depends on the industry. It depends on the job. It depends on the company. It changes a lot. I mean, it's so case by case. There are many people in the U.S. that are breaking their damn backs working. There are many people who are doing the opposite. It's a mixed bag. It's also a huge country, so you can't generalize anything about America. You just can't. It's too big for that. There's too many people for that. Every state has so many differences in just culture based off of where you grew up. I feel like I'm on a different planet if I go from the East Coast to the West Coast. When I meet people who were born and raised on different coasts, especially if they were raised before the internet was widely used. If they didn't use the internet too much socially in their childhood, wildly different the way people act from different coasts, or even between the Midwest and the coasts and all of that. Every state's like a different country. Yeah, when you compare them to other countries. For real. The difference is just that the laws are the same federally, I guess. That's what's kind of the same across them. Everything else is just, you know, culturally kind of small in their little neighborhoods, in their little states. Break my back to draw anime women for 6 hours a day. Where's my 3K check? Work smarter, not harder. That's what I say. Not creative endeavors are so hard to make work. I say. It's so hard, man. Content is a fucking mixed bag. Art is so difficult. Art is so accessible to learn. So because of that, there's so many people that do it, which means you have to be incredibly good at what you do or incredibly good at marketing what you do to make money in it. You can't just be pretty good, like kind of good, and find great work as an artist. You have to go to art school or train up or do whatever you need to do, and you have to end up in the top tiny percentage of people because there's so much competition, and that's what makes it so hard. Like you could be a really good artist and still never make a living because you're competing against, you know, the fucking like Olympians of art. Right? I say that about content all the time too. If someone doesn't make it, they think they're shit, and I'm like, you're probably all right. The problem is that everyone's trying to do it. And because so many people are trying to do it, only the best, the absolute best are going to make it. They'll look at a lot of creators that have been around for a long time and they'll be like, but this guy made it and he's all right. I'm all right too. Back then, not everyone and their grandmother was trying to do it. So more people, you know, more people made it through. The top 10% of 1,000 people, skill-wise, it's going to be what it is. The top 10% of 1,000,000 people trying to do the same thing, that top 10% is going to be crazy talented. Because of just the simple volume of people. A lot of those more diamonds in the rough and, you know, people that just do crazy shit are going to make it into there. So it's just, you know, and it's not even percent-wise. I mean, in a field like this, it's a hard number, right? The top 100 streamers are going to be the top 100 streamers. And if more people are trying, then that top 100 gets, you know, harder and harder to get into. So when people don't make it in some sort of creative field, it doesn't mean they're shit. It just, you know, usually a lot of people trying to fucking do it, right? It's hard. A lot of industries are like that too. I think it's just basic saturation, right? Everyone for the longest time was always like, you shouldn't do tech. You should learn comp sci computer stuff. You make so much money as a dev. You know how many people are getting comp sci degrees nowadays and coming out of school not knowing how to do shit? Which has always been the case for comp sci. In school, they really don't teach you how to do like actual work that you'll do in the field. You basically learn on the job. They just give you a basis. When you come out of school and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, but there are only 100 of you entering the field that year, you're going to find a job. When the same scenario happens, but there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of you exiting school with the same degree and no portfolio, except, oh wait, 3 of those people thought to make a portfolio. Oh, well, you're not going to get a job. They are. You know what I mean? It's so saturated now. It's still not a horrible idea to go into, but you have to try more. You have to do a lot more than you used to be honest. So creative stuff is like that. Any industry that gets, you know, a lot of people going for it is like that. People said the same shit about engineering, which is incredibly oversaturated unless you have no ethics. Oh yeah, engineering is, I'm telling you, go be a plumber, man. Pick up a trade, go to a trade school. There's such a need. There's a huge need for electricians. And everyone seems to think they're above that work, like it's something beneath them. Number 1, not true. You're not above anything. No one's above anything. Number 2, they're in need and they pay bank. Do you really care? Oh, my hands are gonna get dirty. Yeah, whatever. Whatever, dude. I'd rather sit there and do electrical work all day than do some other desk jobs, to be honest. Than to just do data entry all day. I'd die. I don't know, man. You wish you'd been a welder? Yeah. The trades are good right now. One of my friends was trying to be a comp sci major, and he vaguely liked tech, but he didn't like programming that much. He thought certain things were interesting about it, but not others. And I convinced him to learn everything you need to know about how to program CNCs. Just on his own time, whatever you can learn by buying a book and learning it yourself. And I was like, you should do this and learn how to work on things that machinists use. and become a technician. Yeah, G code, exactly. Become a technician to fix these things and maintain these things. You can learn this. It is a trade. You can learn it. Not just as an operator, but someone to go in and fix the stuff. Both. He learned how to do both. He took a course, and then he just found someone who did it by trade and asked if he could work for him to learn on the job. He didn't have to put much money into it at all, because the dude was like, I would love another worker. I need someone who, you know, is a little smarter to be doing this, but a lot of the people interested are, you know, like, just not really cut out for it. I need someone who's willing. My friend did it. He makes so much money. He makes so much money. And he needs to find people to do the work that he's doing. Yeah, it was an apprenticeship. He needs to find people, but he needs people who are maybe the types who would go study comp sci at college, that type of mind, to do this. And he has such a hard time finding them. And he's standing there like, I will pay you so much. And they're all like, I want to work in an office. I want to work for Amazon. and they have no idea. They don't realize that, number one, like, they're not going to make it into Amazon. They're going to work at a shitty startup, maybe, you know? It's going to be hard. And they just don't know how good it is, man. They don't know how good it is. Or they're like, I want to be a game dev. And they decide they should go to college for it instead of just trying to do it as a project with their real good job propping them up. It's crazy. CNC work pays really well from what I've heard. It's a ton of job security. Yeah. Especially, I mean, if you're an operator, it's good. But if you're someone who knows how to do a lot of the maintenance of things, and you can go in and do updates for people, like simple stuff like that, you get paid so much for that. I'm talking about maintenance from the software side, or sitting there and programming something. Being able to program machinery in a factory. Insane. Yeah, building automated systems, exactly. Anything having to do with factories and dealing with any of the software involved, the type of robotics that's specifically for factories, that shit is so needed. And a lot of people seem to think that it's like, they either don't even know it's an option, because, you know, people don't really tell kids to go into trades. They really want their stats to look good, so they push them all into college to go do comp sci and shit. Either they don't know about it, or they see it as beneath them because it has anything to do with factories. I don't know. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. And it's still like a tech-related type of work, but it's a little more hands-on. You see the results of what you're doing physically in front of you, so it feels rewarding for a lot of people. They find that they like that a little more. It feels like more like when you study applied mathematics versus something that's a little more theoretical or just basic mathematics. There's some people that really thrive in applied or in physics because there's a physical representation of what they're doing in front of them. It's that same kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Cheer 100, cheer 100, cheer 100, cheer 100, cheer 100,
Angry Shark, thank you for the
cheer
800.
100, cheer 100. God, I missed hearing you yap. I just got off night crew. Now I'm morning shift in retail.
Ugh.
Thank you, gigs, for being you. Lena Wap, Lena Wap, Kaneko
I'm
5
glad
heart
you're at a
handler.
fucking night shift, dude, for retail. Ew. Morning's so much better. Morning's so much better. Glad to hear it. Trade schools need better advertising. Yeah, they try. They're not really these like billion-dollar institutions usually, so it's harder for them. They also they're just up against schools. I've talked about this before, but a lot of schools, their guidance departments and their I want to call them executives, the administration, they look really good when they have a lot of kids going to college. When they have a lot of kids going to good colleges, studying things in tech, whatever. It makes them look good because the number of kids that graduate and go to X place or do X thing, it becomes a stat for them. And then when they talk about their school to someone else to get funding, they go, look, 20% of our kids went to Ivy League schools. Oh my God. And then they get funding for shit. Because that's a quote unquote measure of how well they're doing. So instead of pushing a kid to go into a career that makes sense for them, that will make them money later, whatever, if it's in a trade school, instead of sending them to some, you know, quote unquote good college, they won't push them toward it. The thing that's actually good for them. They'll go, I want my stats to look good, and they'll throw them there. And sometimes it's not as evil as that, as them thinking about, ooh, my stats. Sometimes it's just that they were taught to do that, so they do it. Because a lot of people that work in the guidance department are stupid, if I'm being honest. They are dumb, and they're lost in the college sauce. So they just kind of like push every kid to go to whatever fucking college they can get into, and the most expensive one that they can possibly pay for. They make them, a lot of kids going into debt in the US, it's often pushed on them by a guidance counselor in their high school. The person's like, yo, you know, you could go to this like state school or community college and it would be really inexpensive, and then you could transfer later into a cool college, but why don't you just do all 4 years of the expensive one? Go for it, buddy. They make the kid feel really good about it if they get in. And I'm like, brother, you're just wasting like $40,000 to $60,000 of that kid's money. You're putting them that much further into debt when really that kid might have a great time being a steam fitter. You know what I'm saying? I always hated that shit. You said some guidance counselors get commission from some of the colleges they send kids to. That's not that common. That's not that common. It's usually not a direct money thing. It's just that they're fucking dumb, if I'm being honest. Or yeah, they're lost in the sauce. You went to a technician program at a community college, then went to a prestigious engineering school. You use the skills you learned in the former more often, and those are the skills your fellow engineers come to you for. Yep. Having worked in tech, a lot of my friends that were friends and coworkers that were the best at what they did, and people went to them to learn how to do certain things, or, you know, they knew how to do a specific thing, fix this thing. A lot of them learned that stuff because they either didn't go to college for something tech related, and they just learned in the field and treated it more like an apprenticeship, or they were the types of people that while going to college or in between college or after, whatever, spent time making a portfolio, working on personal projects to learn things before getting said job. So they learned a lot of quirks of a system, whatever, because they spent a lot of time with it, just in their own kind of environment before just working on it. And that way, when they work in a digital environment, they're not just working in it in this one job. So everything they know about relating to it is about this one case. They ended up learning it more thoroughly because they made a lot of different things. That's it. And, you know, a lot of them were served so much better, and a lot of them were the people in the workplace that other people relied on. Or when something went wrong, they knew how to fix it, where someone else could build a thing software-wise, but they couldn't really fix weird issues and troubleshoot stuff that well. They couldn't look at something that someone else made and fix it. They would always have to just make their own shit. So, I'm just saying. School teaches you some things that are great, but also really doesn't help you that much in some of these fields, if I'm being honest. Your guidance counselor fucked up, didn't keep you on a solid plan. You went to community college and no debt. Yeah. It's the way to do it, man. Self-starters, yet people still complain about boot camp / self-taught people just wanting to get rich quick. Yeah, I think that's maybe that's true for a couple people, but for the most part, that's a bunch of bullshit. You were begging your counselor to get a GED and get out of high school early. I don't think you should get out of high school early and just get a GED. I feel like having a normal high school experience and getting out of high school at the normal time that they expect you to, without a GED, just with a regular thing, looks better on your resume, because GEDs are sort of, I don't think they should be, but people see them on a resume and they go, oh, what's wrong in this person's life that they had to drop out of school and get a GED? It's seen as dropping out and getting it, and not just a choice you can make. So that's the only negative there. I still think functionally it's valid, but, you know, you gotta consider how people see stuff and how that might affect your opportunities, for sure. You said I could have had a career laying pipe. Blazing, you should have been a plumber. You should have been a plumber. More apprenticeships in different fields would be great. Yeah, some people just don't want to offer apprenticeships at all. They just don't want to deal with it. And I don't blame them. I actually had a friend say, hey, here's my kid. They're going to get out of college soon. They want to do some of the stuff you're doing. Would you be willing to take them under your wing? Give them work, or sit there and like let them shadow you, whatever. And I was like, fuck no. Number one, a lot of the work I was doing was incredibly NDA. I could not, like, straight up. Number two, anything that wasn't, no. I want to get my work done and then go fuck off. I don't want to take 2 extra hours to do my work because I have to answer all their questions. I'm not the right person for that. I don't want an apprentice. So I would always be like, yeah, you got to find someone else. But I would give them information to learn how to do the stuff I was doing. I'd be like, you know what? Here are different programs. you can get familiar with. Here are different languages you can get familiar with. Here are different environments you should know how to do. Here's some courses you could take. Go, because you know what? How do you think I learned it? You know what I mean? So I'd give them the source material they would need to get there, but I wouldn't like drag them along with me. I'd be like, you know what? When I see you, you can ask me questions then, but I'm not bringing you anywhere. I'm not the person for that. Not at all. No way. Oh, you couldn't handle the high school environment because of depression and sleep issues? Dude, yeah, not everyone's made for it. I think one of the issues too is like the guidance department can't admit to a kid and help the kid admit to themselves that they're not like meant for certain things. Shouldn't their goal be to help this person fit into the best situation for them? That's what it should be, but that's not what they do. Occasionally you get a good one who tries. You might get a good teacher that does that. I remember one of my teachers kind of trying to help one of my friends drop out because my friend also had similar issues and, you know, really weird home life. And they were like, you know what, for your own growth, you actually need to get out of school. You need to go find work, move away from your family, and become an independent person, and maybe get your GED then. Go into a trade, whatever. And that teacher helped them kind of find options that they could do to do that. And I was like, damn, thank you for being real. That's not always the answer for everyone, but for this friend, it really was. And one teacher was helping them with that. Everyone else was like, you have to stay in high school. You have to stay living here as long as possible. You should make up with your parents. You know, for this friend, in a lot of cases, I say, yeah, you should try. This friend's situation, no, it was so obvious that was not the answer. And yeah, just one person, the whole school was trying to help them with that. And I remember just seeing that in front of me, and I was like, damn, okay. I think that was such a sobering situation for me, like seeing how few people actually tried to do the right thing for them or push them toward the right thing. And I felt like a lot more than that one teacher knew what was right for them. They just didn't want to be responsible for that, should it not go that well. And I'm like, you know, you got a GED because you weren't having a good time. Yeah, I mean, you should do what's best for you. That's why these options exist. You got your master's, still stuck at a minimum wage job. I hear it all the time, man. Certain master's degrees make so much sense to get, and others are just useless. I think one of the funniest ones is if you go to business school. Okay. You want to get a master's in business. There are certain programs where it makes a lot of sense to go through the program, but you shouldn't finish the program. You get into it for a year or even one semester to make connections, to talk to professors, to do your thing and network and schmooze, and then you get the fuck out. Don't pay for it. Don't pay for it. Depends on what industry you're in, but a lot of the cases, you don't actually need it. And I always thought that shit was so funny that was the strat. I was like, really? Is it really that bad that you should just get out after the first year? And a lot of my friends in business were like, oh yeah, I did that too. It's MBA programs and stuff especially. So many of them would just be going through their MBA. They'd get into a program because they would put on the resume that they were previously in this MBA program, but no one would care if it said on the resume or not whether they finished the MBA program. It held the same amount of weight. So they would just go for like one semester. They wouldn't even finish the year. They'd just go, boom. Yeah, I was in that one. Or sometimes they'd get accepted to one and they wouldn't even go, but they write on the resume, yeah, I was accepted to this MBA program. And just seeing that on the resume was good enough for employers a lot of the time. Isn't that crazy? Insane, man. Insane. Ooh, you spent 2 years on a criminology master's and then learned after the fact it was the second lowest paying master's in the US. Criminal justice got to be one of the worst majors you can go for. It's different if you're going specifically for law and you just want to start off with that. It's got to be one of the worst things you can study. Because typically to get the end jobs that you might want to get, there are other routes that teach you a lot more. You want to go into forensics? Okay, go into some sort of science-related path. STEM. Don't go study criminal justice. Want to go into law? Consider just studying law. Maybe criminal justice is okay for that, maybe. But you're going to end up a lawyer. You know? You want to end up being a government worker in police? You just get a normal ass 2-year degree and apply to a program and try to get in. You don't have to like be a criminal justice major for that. You know? It's like all the better paths are not that to those jobs. It's like a weird it's a weird dead end degree for a bachelor's for most people. There's no just criminal justice job. There's always something else that you have to do to specialize. So I thought that was so weird. So many people went into it. I never understood that. You start your MBA for accounting because it's also the CPA. Yeah, that's one of the ones that makes a lot of sense. That's different. Got 3/4 of a biomedical engineering degree. Not sure if you can go back and finish it. You always can, but what they might do is they might make you test out or into certain things. So if it's been a long time, some schools will make you kind of go back and take a modern version of some classes. So you might have to pay again for that. Some of them will just give you tests and you just study and try to get through those tests. And if you can't answer certain things, then they place you in a certain class. But yeah, some are more forgiving. Yeah, depends on the university. But yeah, you always can go back. It's true. Always you can try. It's just a matter of how much you'll have to go back based off of how much you remember and how much you might have to relearn. Your master's was in mechanical engineering, but the job market is tough. Yeah, mechanical engineering is just filled with people. Filled with people. I knew so many mechanical engineering majors. Too many. It's a great basis to go into something more specified, though. So there's still like a lot of hope for a lot of those people. The problem is they just get that degree and go, wow, this means I'm smart and in STEM. And then they try to find a job and they realize there's nothing for that, really. So, you know, you're going to have to specialize. For sure. But at least that piece of paper is pretty good for getting into other programs or doing certain internships and stuff to try and specialize. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. You never finished your CS degree because you changed majors, but you ended up in information security anyway? Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with comp sci. It's actually similar to criminal justice in some ways. You can still get basic dev jobs with just a computer science degree, but there's so many people getting out of school with just a comp sci degree and not much of a portfolio or none at all and no specialization. So because of that and the saturation and all of that, the way to get a job is to specialize. So you either need to, not necessarily that you have to go for a master's, but you have to enter some sort of program or build some sort of portfolio that specializes you in a direction. And I would recommend talking to professors or people that work in certain fields about what you can do, but you can go any which way with that. Yeah, getting certs. Every cert, there are courses available for those certs. It doesn't mean you have to go back to school. You just look online and figure out, what do I want to do? What is it like working in databases, information science? What is it like working in something maybe that's a bit more, yes, data science, but maybe more math oriented? Maybe you want to go and work in security. Maybe you want to go and work in networking. Networking is one thing that not many people go into. Fuck that. I hate networking, but some people love it and not a lot of people go into it. So it's, there's a lot of stuff that's really specific. You can just be like, I don't know what I want to do. Let me go find a couple languages and just figure out what those languages that I kind of liked using were most used for in the workplace. And then just kind of like reverse engineer and figure out what kind of jobs are available for that thing you liked doing and go get certs for the other stuff that they're asking for that you may not have learned yet. I think it's the best thing you can do actually is go think about what you learned and think about what you like the most. Maybe you're like, I love Python. Go look up what kinds of jobs use Python the most and how they use it. And look at what seems familiar to you. Find a job that does that thing you like. Now look at a job listing and look at what other things they want you to know how to do and start going down the list. Not one job listing. Look at a lot of them, see what's common across them, and start going down that list and getting certs for all those things. And then boom. Now suddenly you're way more qualified to get one of those actual positions. Yeah, Python's a terrible example because Python's too big, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? But that's a good way to figure out, like, if you don't know what you don't know, that's how you can sort of reverse engineer and kind of figure out what you should learn. Kind of, sort of. It works for a lot of fields too, not just tech. Go figure out what kind of jobs you want to do. Figure out what their day-to-day is like. Just research. And then go look up job listings for them and see what they ask for. And then try to make your resume have those things on it. Data science is not a popular field, but is in need and pays fairly well. Yeah, it involves a lot more math and types of thinking that most people, I don't want to say they're not capable of, but they don't enjoy. So there are good reasons why it's not a popular field. It's also, a real data scientist is not someone with a bachelor's. It's usually something way beyond that. So the general information field, I would agree. Data science itself, I don't think most people should try to go for that unless they actually really, 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 really love math and running simulations all the time or something. So, depends on who you're working for, though. Ooh, U.S. Forest Service is always hiring seasonal help. Wildland firefighting is a blast and something that offers travel if you want. That's a good point. Actually, there are like forestry schools and things out there. I think there's a New York State one. I think there's a forestry school. And I knew someone who went to it. I knew them before they went to it. And they were like, yeah, I'm going to go to that place for forestry. And I was like, what? Wait, that's cool. And they ended up getting a job, and they're a ranger. And they go around and they just patrol. They're just a park ranger, and they patrol, and they actually have an excellent, amazing job, and they get paid just fine. And they get to live somewhere that's kind of out in the boonies, and they like that stuff, so it's very cheap. Bang your job. Bang your job. And not many people went to that school, so they were saying that there was kind of a need for it. It was neat. It's very true. Don't get to do much of the actual data science work without either a lot of experience or a lot of schooling. Yeah. If you're at the point where you can call yourself a data scientist, you've probably been doing that sort of thing for a very long time. And it's a lot. I'll just say that it's a lot. Byte said most of the ones you know have a master's minimum. Yeah, a lot of them are PhD havers. It's one of the PhDs that actually makes sense to get. Or not just that, it's kind of a necessity in that field, to be honest. Air traffic controller pays crazy good with little education. Is there a lot of need for it? I'm not aware on that one. Is that one of those things that the market's like wide open, or is it kind of, is that still difficult to get? I wonder. Honestly, if you don't know what to do with yourself and you're in the US, pro tip, take the civil service exam. Go find the nearest place where you can take a civil service exam. Okay, go look that up and take as many of them as you can to qualify for everything you can. And your chance, if you have half a brain, of getting a cushy, simple government job, it's actually not so bad. I recommended that to a couple friends. I have one that got a job at, I know it's going to sound like the worst, it's actually the best job ever for them. They work at the DMV. They work at the DMV, and you know what they do? Data entry, simple data entry. They had to take a typing exam to show that they could type. They had to put things into a spreadsheet to show that they understood how to do that. And it was simple data entry. They didn't have to know how to make crazy formulas or anything. They were not the spreadsheet builder. They did that. And then they got a cushy ass job. And does it pay them $1 billion? No. But it covers a lot of stuff for them. Okay, they get medical, etc., etc. Yeah, I know about layoffs. We're not going to talk about politics. I'm just saying in general, if you can qualify for one and you can get one, you should do it. And it doesn't really cost much to go take the exam. Even if there are layoffs, you have no reason, no excuse to not at least put yourself in the system to see if you get called. Like, there's no reason to not do it. It's not like you have to study for these exams. You really don't have to. It's just testing basic skills. And yeah, it might be a little hard to get into sometimes, but you just don't know. And if you're that desperate and you're looking for stuff and you don't know what to do with yourself, take the exam, throw yourself in there. Maybe they'll call you, maybe they won't. But it's a very, very good idea to put yourself in there for the opportunity, because if you don't take the exam, you have 0 chance. So why not make it non-zero? What's it called? The civil service exam. There are varying ones. There are state ones, there are county ones, and all that kind of stuff. So just check in your area. But definitely look into it and take everything available near you if you just don't know what to do with yourself. Yeah, it's worth a try. I'm not saying your likelihood of getting it is, the highest ever. But if you have certain skills, your chances are a lot better. And it's good. It's good to try. Because you know what? They might not call you. I know people that have gotten calls 3 years later. And they've been like, hey, are you still interested? You still want to do this sort of thing? Because we do actually have a need for this sort of thing. And your score was, whatever it was. And if it works out, it works out. Sometimes you have to retake certain ones often, but, there's no reason not to, man. So it can be so hard to get in there unless you know someone. Depends on the department, depends on the office, depends on what it is. Some of them, yes, some of them, no. But yeah, if you do know somebody, it's so much easier. It's so much easier to get in. That is very true. Yeah, it is, Oshi, it is. Anyway, throw yourself in there, even if you think you won't get it. Just don't let the chance of you getting one of those jobs be 0, is what I'm saying. You knew dude who got called so late he forgot he applied? Yeah. It's like that for the police exams, too. You get extra points for being former police somewhere else or being former military, you know, like things like that with practical experience. So a lot of people that don't have those things don't get called. They take the exam, they don't get called. Sometimes they call them a while later, and they're like, I didn't score that high. And they're like, yeah, but you got a high score not having that experience, and it's been a while, and you're now at the top of the list. And it just works out sometimes for some people, you know? So it's worth it. It's worth it putting yourself into these systems at least. You took a job test once and you got truck driver? No. Civil service exam is not like a placement test. It tests a lot of basic skills to be used in an office or a potential like government office, and sees if you can do these like clerical jobs, administrative jobs. And then if you can, and you score highly, they kind of rank the people and how they score. And then when a position opens for X thing, they look at who scored highly on the skills related to it, and they just start calling down the list. And yes, there are recommendations. If you get recommended by somebody, you're higher. But when they need somebody, they just literally go down the line. So you're just essentially putting yourself into a system to maybe randomly get a call for a cushy job. And usually the skills needed are just data entry. like basic shit, man. So it's good. Working on your AWS cert? Oh, which one? You did 2 to 3 small courses for full stack dev, flunked out of uni. Yeah. I think the AWS one is very useful, actually, to have. Even if you don't use that cert to get a job, having the knowledge on how these things work is good. And I know when people like look at AWS for the first time, it's this suite of 1,000 tools and none of it makes sense to them if they're not already familiar with them, and it's super confusing. But getting familiar with it is one of the best things you can do, in my opinion, for just understanding what's out there. What kind of things can I study? What do I not know about? They will have a service for everything. It's a free list of here's everything you could possibly do in tech, or 90% of the things you could possibly do in tech. It's solid. Jesus Christ, bite. Yeah, I scored high too. But no thanks. No thanks. The recruiters are insane. Yeah. You feel like you have to like physically fight them. You got Azure 204, never gonna want to study certs that just prove in terms of getting a project that needs cert. It's just a difference from Earth Next Galaxy. Yeah, some certs you get them just to be like, hey, I'm a certified smarty pants. And that's like, that's all it is. So some of them feel kind of, how do I say it, kind of useless, to be honest. That's okay. That's okay. Every field has that. Every field has stuff. I mean, that's what degrees are for a lot of fields. It's a piece of paper that says you were able to do courses mildly related to the thing, and then you get to the job and it has nothing to do with what you studied. Nothing. It has a 30% overlap with your basic knowledge that you learned in your first 2 years. You know what I mean? That's kind of it. Oh, you're talking about the nuclear program working in it? They stick you in a sub. I had a friend who had a job like that and was legitimately put on an oil rig as a tech worker, put on like some offshore platform. And it wasn't just an oil rig, it was a lot of different things. It was like outer heaven, you know? Like unironically, put on a place like that. And all they could tell me was, yeah, they're sending me to a place like this. And then that was it. And nobody heard from this person for like 2 years. And then they came back and they were like, yep, I did my work, I'm good. And we were like, what'd you do? And they were like, I did my work, I'm good. And we were like, okay, all right. Did you get paid well? Yes. All right. It was they looked haggard. They were so tired. But they made enough to not have to work for a bit, so that's cool. That's cool, I guess. That's cool, man. I don't know. I was like, I don't know that I would have accepted something like that. In a night of delirium, you YouTubed a bunch of oil rig videos. You still hate the ocean. Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. No, thank you. I'm okay. I'm alright. He's the person that can unironically say, yeah, I know a guy about any given profession, Lamel. Well, I mean, I'm cherry picking stuff from the chat and I'm choosing to talk about things that I know about. If someone's like, oh, I knew a guy that did this and I don't know anything about it, I just don't read it. But also, when you live in a really dense place and you hang out a lot of places that have nothing to do with work, it's just a gathering of random people, you meet a lot of people that do weird shit, you know? It's just how it is. It's kind of that's what I like about being in dense places, being in urban environments. You get a lot of very different professions, whereas anytime I've been somewhere that's less dense, right? It's not quite a suburb, but, you know, not as unique as the northeastern cities, then you don't know as many guys, you know? A lot of people that you know do the same stuff. Those industries tend to be a bit more homogenous in certain areas. A lot of people tend to have the same types of jobs in certain areas. Whereas in the Northeast, it's like not like that at all. It's very just everything's there. So, because I feel like a lot of my friends from New York, especially, are the same as me in that way. Everyone knows people who do weird shit. Everybody knows a lot of people that do a lot of weird things. That's just how it is, man. You used to sit on container ships in the Persian Gulf taking shots at Somali pirates, and now you sit behind a desk guarding a government data center. Woo! Yeah, it'd be like that. I was telling this story the other day. I had a friend who hid out in the desert in Israel many, many years ago, and I mean like 30-something maybe. Many years ago. Because they were escaping something that the US wanted them for. Not criminal, just something they needed answers on and they really didn't want to deal with it. So they went out and were essentially a Bedouin for a while. And I remember this friend telling me about all this and I was like, I don't believe you. Like, I kind of believe you in some ways, but a lot of the details and the way this sounds like a movie plot, and I just don't believe you. Then he starts pulling out pictures from his time. He kept a diary, he kept a log, he kept pictures. He brought it, you know, later, and he was like, hey, remember that thing you like weren't sure about that I've told you about a million times? Here you go. And I was like, this can't be real. This dude was for real. It was crazy. Absolutely insane. The stuff he did was... Yeah, Bedouin hideaway camp. Turns out that's not actually as rare as you think. Is it rare? Yes, but if you need to go hide somewhere... Turns out that's one of the things of choice. Isn't that something? I had another friend. I mean, I believed him instantly just because of his age, but he didn't want to get drafted for the Vietnam War. So he joined the Peace Corps, and he spent much of his youth in the Punjabi desert. And so he's this little mousy guy, you know, and he seems very unassuming. He's like a little weirdo. He wears a backwards baseball cap, but he's, you know, very hello fellow kids. He's old, okay? He like could trip and fall and die. He's old, but he wears a backwards baseball cap. That's the guy that I told you about that reads like $1 old decrepit books from a bookstore that are about to fall apart, and he'll rip out the pages as he reads them to make the book lighter because no one's going to read that after him anyway because the book's going to fall apart anyway, right? That guy. He went and lived over there for a while in the Peace Corps to escape the draft for the Vietnam War, and came back and then became a bike messenger in New York City. Which is a job for insane people, I want to say. You have to be fucking crazy to be a bike messenger. And to be a successful one, you have to be very, very good at what you do. But to do it at all, you have to be, like, willing to die. Okay, that's a scary job. He was a bike messenger for so many years. He's one of the weirdest people I know. Hey, you know so many people? I had a lot of jobs that made me be in a lot of places and get to make conversation with a lot of people. And it was a lot of people brought together by needing to go to these places. It was not retail or anything like that. And that's all I'll say. It's nothing crazy secretive. It's like too specific that if I told you, you'd just be like, oh, okay. But yeah, people used to go outside for work. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. These were at times when people sat around and talked, and people didn't really pull out their phones as much. Not to be a boomer about it, but you know, like, genuinely. Is VTuber the weirdest job you've had? I'd say some of the stuff I did previously was more unique than this in how many people have probably done that specific thing, actually. But doesn't mean it was that crazy. It's just not a thing that a lot of people do. There's not really a need for that many people to do it. So there are only just so many people that do those things. But at the same time, this is definitely the weirdest one from the weirdness level perspective. From what people would find weird. But if I list out everything I've done to somebody who's never met me, they'd see this one as the weirdest, but they'd probably be more intrigued by other stuff, to be completely honest. Not everything, but some things. Need to step back, realize there are 2K people here with all different skills and interests. Yeah, I know a lot of people who chat in this chat work in tech, but there are also a lot of people that are tradesmen. There are a lot of people who are just students right now. There's some people who are way older, and there are even some people who did interesting jobs, made good money, retired, you know. It's a very interesting mix here. Do you feel fulfilled by this job? Oh yeah. That's why I kept with it. For me, I like that it's all me. Everything that I do is all me. In the past, I've both run my own shit for like old work that I used to do, run my own shit and worked for other people and done all that. I enjoy that this I have full 100% control over. And I realized that in old work, when I had more control over a project, and it was like my project, way more fulfilling. Still enjoyed doing just random work for other people, totally fine. Didn't dislike it, I just really liked that. So sitting around and doing something like content where it's 100% all your responsibility, I think there are a lot of people that realize they hate it after they do it for a while. They don't like a job where everything falls on them, because there's absolutely no one to stand in front and be like, oh, actually, this was all me or whatever. No, it's just like everything's your fault all the time. Even stuff like, something like if something wasn't shipping to people fast enough, they'd come to my Discord or my chat demanding an answer from me. They're not necessarily blaming me, but they're like, I'm facing it, right? Like everything is like that with content, because you're the face of what you're doing. So everything that happens, people are coming literally directly to you for some sort of answer all the time. And I think some people hate that, but I actually enjoy it all being like centralized like that. Personally, I like that. But yeah, it's not for everyone, but I like it. And I did in tech, there were times where I did have that. Depending, there were times where I did absolutely run my own shit, but there are other times where I didn't. So I was like, but I didn't dislike it. But you know, I honestly, the stuff that I did before was also fulfilling, but this is just a different kind of fulfilling. I don't know. I like both. That's my problem, is I like a lot of things, so I'm kind of fine with whatever I do, to be honest. You've seen that in other chats? Yeah, I was talking to, who was I talking to about this? I think it was Vinny. We had a long conversation about that, about how like one of the really unique things about being a content creator is that you're the face of what you're doing, and you're in real time in front of people when you're a streamer specifically. So everything that ever happens ever, people feel like they have access to you, which you can delete comments, or you can just not read a thing, whatever. But you know, people come straight to you to ask you about things all the time. And for some people, that's horrifically overwhelming. For others, it's like, it's whatever. I like it because I like keeping all the information centralized in my head and being my own manager. I enjoy that. But some people would rather not. And they're so used to pointing to a manager and going, that's the person you ask about that. They're the person who aggregates everything, right? But I like being the one that aggregates everything. So for me, I really like it. But it definitely burns some people out. For sure. You said you started a career in video game testing, switched to software testing, and now You're testing a device that's designed to work outside under any condition, and now there are days where you're hiking in the dead of night in the woods in the cold and rain to test this thing. It's crazy how it changes, right? It's crazy. You can't picture yourself doing what I do. Yeah, I think over time I've realized more and more, like, there's a reason why a small number of people are successful streamers who also are not really unhappy. And I think it's because of a lot of these little things that I just think most people wouldn't enjoy. They'd enjoy doing the baseline work, but they wouldn't enjoy all the shit that comes with it, you know? It's just not for them. There's no greater stress for you than being asked questions you don't have the answer to at work. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. What is Mad TV? Look it up. Go watch episodes. It's good. Trust. I want to stream, but it seems so overwhelming looking at everything. Hitting go live, being able to get to the point where you can hit go live and do a stream, I don't think it's overwhelming once you just try setting stuff up. I think a lot of the things people find they don't like about streaming don't happen until you have a little bit of a viewership or a little community around yourself, and then you realize you hate all the social shit. Because a lot of the people that want to stream are actually really introverted. They like video games, you know? They like video games and they like sitting at home and watching content creators instead of going out and talking to people. And those people are the ones who are like, I would love to be a streamer because I love playing video games and hanging out with my friends in Discord and talking to them, you know? And they think it's like that. And then they start trying it and then they're like, wait a minute, I hate this. I like this about it, but I hate that about it. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Silent artists have it good. Dude, sometimes I'm like, if I could stream like Forsen, I'd stream 24/7. Play a video game and just like not talk most of the time. But my chat is going crazy and having the best time of their lives with each other without me. Like, oh my God. What a different experience that is, right? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But that's a thing that I don't think will be happening again. I think his chat happened and it was a unique experience and that's it. When people want that experience, they go to his chat specifically. That's it. I don't think any new streamer is going to show up and like have that happen too. Not impossible, but like I don't think it's going to be common. You know what I mean? Definitely not. A friend of yours makes live 2D models. She says more than half of the people that commission her end up not liking it and just quitting. Yeah. I stand up here so many days. People come and ask VTuber questions and I go, hey, just use a free one. Don't buy one, just use a free one. They're like, should I work on a debut? Which means like making a lore video, all these things that cost money. I'm gonna get a lore video, I'm gonna get a model, I'm gonna get all these things. And I'm like practically begging people to not do that, to just get free shit and try streaming. And they keep doing that. And I'm saying this from experience, not my own experience, but you know, all the experiences I've heard from all my artist friends, people that make assets. I have friends that are graphic designers. You know how many people that have gotten overlay sets and then use them once and they're done? Oh, thanks. Tell them to make their own model. No. Don't even make anything. Use a pre-made one. Use the one that Vito used to use for Neuro. That's a free one that comes with VTube Studio. The one that she's based off of now. Get my chair. I feel like sitting. Just use a free one, man. Or PNG, yeah. Use a damn PNG, man. You don't need anything else. And you just use that. Just use that. That's it. I don't know why. No, I do know why. I was gonna say I don't know why people think they need that, but they think they need that because they look at people that have already found success as an example of what they should be doing. But when you need to look at are people that have like 20 viewers, 40 viewers, 50 viewers, and be like, how can I get there? You know, what do they have? And you'll find a lot of people in that range that have free shit, PNGs, you know, they're just good entertainers because they've spent time streaming and they've, you know, gotten the experience to figure out how to stream. That's it. Then you're done. There you go. Doing pretty much anything for more than 30 hours a week burns most people out, and streaming is even more tiring, even if you're not a silent streamer. Yeah. That's the other thing is most work that you do, you're not talking for most of it. And your brain isn't producing many unique thoughts, if I'm being completely honest. You're sitting there doing some work, you're at your computer, typing, doing a thing, blah, 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 making a thing, and you're doing something you've done a lot before. And no one's expecting you to come up with something completely new. You're piecing together a lot of stuff that you've done before. The end product is something new, but it's a lot of non-unique pieces. Okay, this is for programming, this is for designing something, this is for any kind of work. Or you're doing work that's completely head empty in most jobs, right? Then you have some creative jobs where you're creating something new. But again, it's this very well-practiced thing you're doing over and over. You know, it's not too crazy. Some creative jobs are streaming where people come to you to be entertained and they want to hear something new. They want to hear maybe something you've talked about before, you've said something about before, but presented in a new way, not the exact same sentences you said before. If you don't keep changing things occasionally, people get bored and leave. And then you have to talk the whole time. You have to talk the whole time. Am I fine with that? Yes. Are most people fine with that? No. Most of my friends that try streaming, they go, oh my God, I can't stream for more than 2 hours. I don't know what to say. And the number of words I say in that 2 hours are like nothing. I've been talking for like just under 3 hours this whole time, nonstop. And at this point, I don't think it's that hard, but when I look back at a lot of people starting out, I go, oh my God. That is the Olympics of chatting, man. It's crazy. It's insane. And then, yeah, a lot of the time you're playing games at the same time. You play a game and you're supposed to still talk and say unique shit during that. Fuck it. That shit is not easy, okay? Not easy. You just come here for the vocal fry? Thanks, man. I have too much of it. I got too damn much. I'm not even like a smoker or anything, man. I just sound like this. Someone asked, they were like, a friend asked if I had smoked a bunch ever. And that's where I got my vocal fry. And I said, nah, I just had it. Could you imagine if I smoked? Can you imagine what it would sound like? It'd be crazy. Insane. Sometimes big YouTubers will try streaming only to get almost instantly burnt out of it. Yeah. I have a lot of friends that I've made recently that or not recently, like in the past years, honestly. But since I've become a streamer, I've made a lot of YouTuber friends. A lot of them genuinely, yeah, they try streaming because they're like, you know what, it's cool to be live. All the content I make, I'm in front of people, but I'm not there really in front of them. So let me do something live. Let me stream. And they try streaming and then they find out that they just can't do it. They're actually completely different. Being a YouTuber and being a streamer are completely different in how you do that work. And that's why a lot of people are good at one and not at the other, because it's a different skill set. Didn't you say your voice did an oopsie at some point? No, my vocal fry was always there. It was always there. I think I got a little more of it when I developed nodules, but not that much more. That actually, nodules, what they do is when you try to do certain things and try to go up in pitch a little, or you try to yell, sometimes just air comes out instead of it reverberating and vocal folds touching, and then you end up with no actual vocalized sound. It's just hissy air. That's kind of what nodules do. So that's why I could talk so much, but like I don't really like do song covers and stuff. Because sometimes a note will come out just fine, and then other times, like, literally no sound will come out. It's just air. And then it's really hard when you do that sometimes when your vocal folds are in that position and your nodules are, like, doing the thing they're doing. Sometimes they get worse from that, and I'm not trying to make mine worse. So, yeah. They've already gotten better. They do heal up sometimes. Some of them heal entirely. Some of them heal somewhat, and mine are as healed as they're gonna get. So, you know. I'm not trying to damage him. I'm not trying to damage him. You know what I mean? But no, I've always had a lot of vocal fry. That's just how my voice always was. I think actually, I used to speak a lot more quietly. I think that's the only difference. I used to speak more quietly, and then I started streaming. and I started speaking louder and louder, and I'm trying to bring it down, but sometimes I just for no reason like start projecting at the mic for no reason because the mic is right near me. I could whisper into the mic and it would be fine. You'd all hear it. But I just find myself starting to yell a little bit. And when I do that, my voice gets thinner. I get like a thinner voice and I'm more likely to strain myself. So I need to not fucking do that. But I do it all the time. You know why? Because you've got like a headset on or you're listening to game noises and things. And you start to over it. So what I do is I make sounds louder in your ears. But I turn them down for me. So I don't feel like I'm trying to yell over it, you know? Because you just do it naturally when it's loud. What is this emote? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. You said because of commentary, I soft yell anytime I talk online. You can damage your voice that way too. It's dangerous. You really can. So be careful with that. Be careful with that. Anyway, I want to play a game. I want to play a game, but I don't know what I want to play. Because we have options. We have options. What are we feeling? I don't know. Spore? Fuck no. EVE Online? You don't want me to play EVE Online. Hold on. Let me look through my list. There are a few things. I always have stuff on a list that I could pull from. Path of Exile 2. I do want to play more of it, but I don't know if I want to stream it. I don't feel like that's the kind of thing you people want to watch. Or maybe you do, but I feel more like that's what a few people in the chat want, and not what a lot of people want. Does that make sense? Marvel Rivals. Then I have to do that thing where I ping people and I go, oh, it's time to play Marvel Rivals. It's time to play Marvel Rivals. Actually, I do like the game. I like it more than I thought I would. Did you play Miss Side? No, I don't like horror games that much. If they're not played in a group, I usually don't enjoy them that much. But I watched Joel play it. So, you know, Kidnap Mason. Funny you say that. I was just messaging him yesterday. And I said something to him. And he says, yeah, I probably won't catch you tomorrow. Like in GTA. He was like, I won't be on tomorrow. He said, but I'll be around. I said, all right, well.
I can't get over how good the 3D model is. Good job to everyone involved, GEEGA nodders.
Thank you. I have to make sure, thanks. I have to make sure I put Pastel in my credits in the list. The one that's in the description below. I gotta make sure she's in there. I can't remember if I added her. I want to say I didn't. I just put her on the stream. So I gotta make sure she's in there. I have my list of to-dos and that's on there. But yeah, no, Mason, I was talking to him yesterday. And he said he wouldn't be on the server for today. And I said, okay, well, if you want to do variety in the meantime, you know where to find me. He was like, yeah, I appreciate you. Is he streaming today? I think he is, right? His title says top 5 DPS. Wait, is he playing Marvel Rivals? He is?
What, it's a 3D model. I just thought she got a haircut.
Yeah, I did. Look at it. a little trimming of the hair. I'm gonna give subs for a whip and an A. I'll do a free whip. Sorry, I had to do that like over the mic. I know it looks like a punch, but that's what the whip is. Sorry, I don't feel like standing up again. I don't think I can nay in a chair. You kind of have to. It was earlier. Boosting your snow was bad. Oh, okay. You got like 5 people playing Rivals in like 2 groups, the corpo thing, and consolidate. I don't know what that means. Those are a lot of words, and I have no idea what you mean by that. Here, let me go spy on my friends on Twitch. Let me see. Wow, everyone's playing Marvel Rivals. Jesus. Are you guys enjoying watching Marvel Rivals, or are you feeling tired of it? How do you feel on that? Because from what I'm seeing, most people are actually really enjoying it because it's new. You know, it's new, so it's still got that kind of thing going on. But yeah, I feel like my chat is the type where people get tired of. Here's what I think. I think once something's been done a lot, it's still and it's team game like that. It's still really fun to watch if the group has great banter. Or if you really love playing the game and you want to watch someone really good play and you're watching like Sure 4 or something, right? Those are the two kinds of like streams that will work out for it. It's not a like, oh, I just want to watch a streamer I like play it thing anymore, right? It's like specifically, is this group of people really funny to the point where I don't care what they're playing, I just want to watch them. And then, you know, yeah, they'll probably play something like Rivals just because it's fun and new. Or am I watching a good gamer, right? It always turns into that. So, you know, I'm not opposed to like doing a flavor of the month thing depending on who I'm playing with, but if I'm like soloing, you know what I mean? Like I basically wouldn't be soloing it like ever. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But I have a hard time playing some games like this. Some people, because they yell a lot. I talked about this the other day, but some people get really loud, and over time, I think I'm just getting old, and I can't handle it anymore. I can't handle it anymore. Sure, 4 playing Dark and Darker as a solo rogue was peak content back when that was the flavor of the month. Yeah, it depends on the person. It depends on the person. He's one of the ones where, like, I'll always watch him play flavor of the month shit. Like, always, always. Play Slay the Spire. Barb was playing Slay the Spire today, so I was kind of tempted. I kind of was. I don't know. I don't want to replay Slay the Spire as much. I'm just excited for 2 to come out. Pacific Drive. That's one that's on my list, actually. Yeah. I was looking at Pacific Drive. Let me see. That's on the list. I did want to go back through Foodie, but then you'd be watching me do the early fight again. Then again, it's been so long that a lot of you haven't seen that, so that could be good. Take some of these out. Some of these, I've watched people stream them, and then I don't want to play them after seeing it. That's the problem with me. Sometimes I'll watch a friend play a game, and by watching it, I know what happens, so the point of me playing it is gone. And then the point of me streaming it is gone. Because then you don't get my fresh reaction to the game because I already know what happens. So sometimes I watch someone play a thing and I ruin the chance of me playing it. Like Me-Side is one of those. I mean, I probably wasn't going to play it anyway because it was horror and I'm not that into it. But, you know, if there was a chance, it was gone because I watched Joel play it. You know what I'm saying?
Pacific Drive is real good. I recommend curating a playlist so you can avoid the radio DMCA thing, while still having a larger music variety.
Yeah, and I've heard a few people say that. They're saying the radio is just not it. Another chill roguelike day? I could do that. That's my default. If I don't know what to do and I don't want to pull something new from the list, that's like just like a non-roguelike game, I just go to my list of roguelikes and I go, man, let's do some runs, you know? That's always the default. Because I always like that. Looking through my list, I kind of feel like Pacific Drive might be the move. I might be feeling that. I saw Vinny playing FTL the other day. I was like, huh? FTL? I love FTL. That's one of those games I'll occasionally just go back to. Ugh. I was like, you kidding me? Hard mode runs? Ew. I feel like FTL hard mode, I'd have such a hard time doing on stream because, like, I gotta lock in, okay? I gotta lock in. If I don't lock in, I'm gonna die. Yeah, Into the Breach is solid. I want to get. I really want to get Garrick, Shaddy, and Dread again. We did this in VC, not on stream. We played this demo of a game called Gladio Mori, and it was fun as fuck. Really simple game. You're just some dude and you control his limbs, and you pick a weapon type, and then you just try to hit each other with weapons. That's it. That is all. Funny as fuck. I loved that game. It almost controlled like a half sword. Oh, speaking of which, didn't they do a half sword update? Hold on. They did like a something. Did they update the demo? Is that what they did? Or is it the playtest? I think they updated the demo, right? I loved Half Sword. Fuck it, I'm opening the demo. I'm opening it. I don't know if it's the same one or if it'll be updated. Let me see. Let me check on it real quick. Let me check on it. XCOM 2 playthrough. I don't love playing certain types of strategy games on stream because I think while I find it really interesting, most people find it boring as fuck to watch. It is more fun to play than it is to watch. And I'm here to do something for you to watch, because if I just wanted to play it, I could just play it when I'm not streaming. You know what I mean? People don't like XCOM? I didn't say that. They don't like watching XCOM streams. Very different, very different. Yeah, I could do it on alt. I could do it on alt. Okay, half sword demo. Let's adjust our frame rate. Okay. Let me see. I guess this is the updated version, right, in the demo? I don't have to be part of their super special fancy playtest. It's time. Also, I've already played XCOM 2. I just played it on my own time. And that is once again the problem. Actually, no, wait, let's zoom out. Sometimes I play a thing on my own time, and then people are like, you would love this game, you should play it on stream, and I'm like, sorry to tell you.